Hello everyone and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen. We're here with the Tuckster. He's representing England tonight with the Chelsea football hat. And tonight, where it's Thursday, we normally do kind of a smaller game, but we're going to be doing 510, 500 min, unrestricted buy-in, no limit hold'em, Dave. I'm really excited. It's the first day of Winning at the Green. Right. Open to the public now, and it seems like any day that it's going to be a no-limit tournament, we're going to be able to put up a big game, and we're going to, more importantly, see a bunch of new faces. Everyone at the table is new. Yeah, there's not one person I recognize. I mean, there are a couple people I recognize from, say, different tournaments and so forth, but this should be great. I mean, did you hear we have over 700 people? 730 people entered tonight, and I think it was still counting. People were in line an hour afterwards. I mean, it's a no-limit hold'em, $50,000 guaranteed tournament. Yeah. And the prize pool is going to be over $150,000. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. Now, the funny thing about this game here is that it's a $500 game, Dave. And I think a lot of people are accustomed in other casinos thinking it's a restricted buy-in game. So when we set the game down, everyone kind of buy in for $500. We were like, no, it's unrestricted. Right. And now people are adding some chips onto the table. But it is not all that deep. With the exception there's like one player who has $5,000. The rest of them have $500. Well, let's get to the table and let's start this thing. And we are really going to be working on introducing the players because we don't know any of them. Yeah, it should be a real exciting night. And actually an exciting month, to say that. Yeah. Seat 1, folks, we have got Gary. And I don't know his last name. Wearing the Winning of the Green hat, so that does not bode well for him. The tournament started at 4:15, folks. Yep. And it is 6:55 right now. So, and he's already out, obviously. And there he is. Seat number 2, we've got Satish. And I actually know Satish. I actually also know Gary as well. Don't really know how he plays. It'll be interesting to see how he plays tonight. Seat number 3, we've got Aaron. Aaron also sporting the Winning of the Green hat. A lot of these tournament players will come and play in the tournament and then try to win back the $200 buy-in playing in a game, or more even so. Seat number 4, we've got Armando. Yep. And Armando's got a stack of yellows, but he's also a stack of purples on top of that. So he's probably got a little over $1,000 there. Seat number 5, we've got Richie Rich. And Richie Rich, he's bought in for a lot. He bought in for $4,500. And he actually was in the big game. He was playing 10-20 no limit before. And when I told him about Live at the Bike, he was like, whoa, put me in. Yeah. So he's jumped over here. Seat number 6, we got Johnny. Johnny be good there. Looks like he's got about 900 in front of him. That's very perceptive. Yeah. Savvy Bart. There you go. Seat number 7, we've got Cy. Oh, I love the name Cy. My grandfather's name was Cy. Great name. Good old Cy. Seat number 8, we got Leo. There's Leo. Yeah, Leo's got about a little over 800 as well. And seat number 9, folks, is actually a player who's up right now. His name is Amir. He's kind of got... Amir's got these cool glasses. He's got those new Phil Hellmuth Oakleys. Oh, interesting. He's actually got their MP3 players and sunglasses. Well, in this game, we're playing 5-10 blinds, unrestricted. The yellow chips are $5 chips. Purples are 25s, and if you see whites, they're 100s. And again, the game is not all that deep. Kevin James is here, Dave. I just said hi to him out there. He's playing 10-20. I don't know if he has interest in coming in this game. It was kind of hectic out there. But it is pretty crazy here at the Bike. Again, 730 people in the hand. And it's going to be interesting to see how most of these people, tournament players, adjust to cash games. Yeah. You know? It's funny, I was talking to some of the cash game players, and they're all like, it's going to be a nice month to see all these tournament donks come into the game. Yeah, I mean, this is... the Bicycle Casino is always the place to play No Limit Hold'em, but this month especially. The games are going to be crazy. Well, we're going to get in the first hand here. It's limped around. The button is over there in seat number 1, and we've got, looks like, 4-way action in the hand. Seat 6 needs to show us his cards. Yeah, so Tisha's got the best hand here. Seat number 2's got Jack 5. 40. Well, he's got Jack 6. Johnny does. So he's going to come out with that. The flop was Jack 8-4 with 2 diamonds. And Satish quickly folds. He's not going to get involved here. You know, he's in the blind, you got a free ride. Do you want to really get involved with that hand? And the funny thing, too, Dave, is I actually had a guy tell me I was playing 5-handed. And I didn't complete in the small blind. I was playing 5-handed, 5-10. And they're like, what hand could you possibly not complete with in the small blind, playing 4 or 5-handed, no limit hold'em? And I said, well, you know, there are hands that I just really don't know what I want to hit and I actually just don't want to get involved with. Yeah, you know what I mean? Anybody that would ask you that doesn't really have a clear idea of what No Limit Hold'em is about. Yep. You know, a hand like Jack 3 offsuit has no value in any position. I mean, especially under the gun. I mean, So we're going to see a straddle here, Dave, by seat number 5, Richie Rich. He is in command with the chip lead. He bought in. Only one that really bought kind of deep here. Again, the yellow chips are $5 chips here.
And he told me, Richie Rich came out and said, I'm gonna really rally him up today, okay? Expect a lot from me.
Seat number 8 here looks like he is going to limp in here with ace-10. Seat 9 is in the hand. Again, we might have a little bit trouble with the cards because some of the players aren't necessarily aware of how to put the cards up. Seat 9 posted dead, so he's going to check Jack 8 offsuit here. Got a little gap-suited connector for seat 2, and we're going to see family, looks like 5 ways here. Maybe 4 ways.
Yeah, and it's funny, most of the games that we commentate, we know the players so well.
Right.
Game like this, we don't really know any of them.
Richie Rich here, he's got queen 10 of diamonds, and with about 3 limpers, he's going to raise it up here.
Yeah, and he made it how much?
300. And again, he's the only one that's really deep in this game, so he's going to put pressure on a lot of these guys here.
One time I make a stupid call, man.
And you know what? He's going to pick up an easy $80.
Yep. Right
and he shows queen 10.
Which actually was, well, I mean, ace-10 over there for Leo, but, I mean, Leo really going to get involved with ace-10 to a raise going down the
The
straddle.
way to play it, I mean, you've got to realize that obviously if you raise that much, now by doing that, by making that play the first time, for the first hand here, he kind of sets it up later on, so people with big hands might just limp in when he's straddling, thinking that he's going to raise, and watch him later only limp in.
Of course, we always see that with Live the Bike favorite corporation, Mike. When he straddles, he's going to raise, 30 to 40% of the time out of that straddle spot. Any ace and sometimes any king or any pocket pair.
And with the threat of that, he gets himself a lot of free cards, and you'll see Richie Rich do the same thing tonight, I bet.
Well, it's going to get folded around here to the cutoff.
I'm telling you, I was going to do it.
He's not going to play. And the button, he's got queen 10, same hand that Richie Rich had, of diamonds, and he's going to raise it up to 40 here. Richie Rich has got queen 9 here in the big blind.
Yeah, he's badly dominated.
He's dominated. See if he's going to get involved out of position. He does not.
Yeah, Richie Rich, I mean, he looks like a kind of player who's going to mix it up. He told me he was going to mix it up.
Yeah.
But I expect him to be raising more and not calling.
The other interesting thing, Dave, too, I was thinking, well, I went out to Donna, who helps us set up the game, because we originally had scheduled an $80 no limit, and I said, there's so many people on the board. I was like, let's just start a 5-10 game over here. We're going to have enough people. If people don't want to play, we can move them out when the game starts. Everyone rushed over the table and said, I want to play on Live the Bike. I want to play on Live the Bike.
We do apologize to anybody that comes down for the show. Obviously, we do reserve the right to change the show.
Right. And I can tell you that we're probably not going to be doing $80 or $200 games this month. I just don't see it happening unless it's a really slow day.
Yeah, you got during tournament time, especially March for us and for August for us, obviously Legends and for Winning the Green. We're going to be trying to put those big games down.
Of course, you want to keep the show interactive. You can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. Also follow a live thread on 2plus2, 2plus2.com spelled out. Look under Tournament Poker, World Poker Tour, etc. Official Live the Bike thread for March 2nd. Here we go, 9-7-5. Limped around once again. Not a lot of pre-flop raising so far. Couple diamonds. Satish has got a king 9 over there. And he's in late position. He has position. And he's probably going to throw in a bet here with top pair. And he does. He's going to bet 40, about the size of the pot here. It doesn't look like anyone really has much to make this call.
It'll be interesting here. The thing I'm wondering is, a lot of these players thought they were playing a restricted 500 game that is probably 5-5 blinds. And this game might be a little bigger than some of these players normally play.
Look at this. Sai has made the call here. Is he trying to set up a play? And look at this. He spikes a king, but now Satish has 2 pair.
Yeah, and that's the danger sometimes going with those overcards.
I wonder if Sai was going to try to set up a play, and Satish leads again. He's going to bet, it looks like 115, and Sai calls. I can't see if Sai has any chips left over there.
I think that's all in, isn't it?
Is he pretty much all in here? Yeah, he's all in, Dave. So this is going to be about
he needs a jack and only a jack
$450 pot. And he's got king 9. Yeah, Sai's going to need a jack or he's gone. And the river here is an 8. And just like that, Satish is going to take down about a $450 pot there with kings up.
Well done. We talk about danger of taking one off with overcards all the time. You've got to realize that sometimes your overcards are not good.
Yep.
And it's hard to know. You go, well, they both can't be bad. No, you're right. They both can't be bad. But how do you know which one is good and which one's bad? I mean, oftentimes we see people do that with ace-queen and ace-king, and they get themselves in a lot of trouble when they catch that top pair.
We're getting word that Sai is going to rebuy here for 1,000 behind. Again, it's an unrestricted buy-in, $500 min. And I guess, like I said, Dave, I don't think this is necessarily a common game, I guess, in most land-based casinos. the unrestricted games are a bigger minimum, and maybe sometimes people get a little bit confused.
Well, it's not. It's strange. I mean, at the Bellagio, their first unrestricted game is an $800 minimum pay-in. At another LA-based casino, their first unrestricted one is a minimum of $600. So it's not like it's that far off.
Seat number 1's going to bring this one in for 40. He's got pocket 9. That's Gary. Now, Richie Rich has got an ace 9 suited here on the button. He has position. And he's going to re-raise it, Dave.
Yeah, he's going to re-raise in position now. Big difference. Let's see how he plays it.
He's going to make it 200 more. And right away here, it's like Richie is kind of playing it almost like a tournament or being real aggressive with his stack.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He's going to make it 200 more. And Gary looks like he might only have maybe 500 in front of him. Oh, he's like, well, actually, he's got maybe 800 in front of him there, Dave.
Yeah.
See how he's going to play
though, you know, you've got 9s out of position.
Yeah.
Short of a set, what do you really want to hit here? I mean, if it comes out with all rags, you're behind jacks, queens, or kings.
Right.
And if it comes out with overcards, well, then you still have no idea where you're at.
And he's going to get rid of it. And there you go. Gary's going to take it down. You know, it's interesting. I was telling you that we had been you and I have been running so well in no limit cash games. I kind of took my first kind of not a bad beat. I was behind, but I had started the game off with about 1,300 this afternoon, got it up to about 3,000, Dave, and lost it all in one hand because I really wasn't paying attention to the fact that my stack was so big. I had flopped trips, and a guy had flopped bottom full, and I lost my stack. And it's a lesson well learned. If you get into one of these games and you get really, really deep, if you get really deep, you got to sit back and make sure that you're not going to commit a whole bunch of chips, so you might not necessarily be comfortable committing.
Well, if you get to the point, I mean, you've got to be aware that whenever you're sitting in a no-limit game, and I remember when you first started playing no-limit, we were talking about this, whenever you're sitting in a no-limit game, you only want to have in front of you what you are comfortable gambling on any given hand.
Richie Rich is going to bring this one in for 60. He's got 6 deuce of spades in seat 5. And Sai is going to call here in the small blind with 8-9 offsuit. Satish had made a limp with queen jack.
Now, the problem with this now, Richie Rich has got position on these guys. Now, if these players both miss, are they both going to check? Is Richie Rich going to take it away?
It's about 185 here to the flop.
And look at this flop, folks.
Wow, Richie's flop bottom 2 pair here. And he did not bet with the ace there, and the turn is a 3. Now, neither player, the other players have anything here. Let's see if he maybe induces a bluff.
Well, he does.
And look at this, Sai's going to come out and bet. 100. He's going to bet 100 here.
And Richie Rich has got the hand won. You see the check mark next to his name. That means he's won the hand. He cannot lose this hand unless he folds it.
And he's going to raise it up, and Sai quickly folds, and he shows the deuce 6 there.
I'm getting this in late position. I will gamble it up.
Yeah. Again, you and I mean, I think we might get a lot of new viewers here, too, or some of these guys that might go back and watch. For those of you that are on the table that might watch this tonight or tomorrow, you and I are pretty big proponents of usually betting your hand, especially if you raise it pre-flop. When you even flop a monster because you're expected to bet, you might want somebody to play back with you with something like ace-king.
Well, that's the whole point, right? You raised.
Right.
You raised in late position. 2 people called you. You're hoping one of those players has an ace-queen or ace-king, and they've checked it to you looking to check raise.
Yeah.
The best way to make a lot of money on that is, sure enough, bet it, let them check raise, and then you can come over the top on them.
Right.
Or at that point, maybe you smooth call.
You've
let
got
them
position,
bet the turn.
you can play it any way that you want to play.
Yeah. Once again, this show is live. It's unedited, unscripted.
Yep.
Bart and I just
Don't let me get my chips back.
shoot from the hip here.
It's crazy out there, Dave. I mean, it is
packed. Absolutely packed. I already told Donna to put me on a no-limit board at about 9 o'clock.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way action here. Looks like it's a family pot. 6-way action. Yeah, we're playing 5-10, so it's going to be a $60 pot here. Jack 10-3 here, a couple diamonds. So we'll get a chip count in here. It's pretty.
Nobody has anything. I mean, this has missed every single player. It's amazing.
Look at Aaron. Well, he's got bottom pair. He's got the best hand over there in C3 with King 3.
I mean, he's got backdoor hearts, but I mean, he's flopped the biggest hand here, and he's going to bet it.
Well, actually, seat 4 is coming out and betting it with nothing. Armando.
Well, that'll probably take it down. I mean, can you call with King 3 of hearts here?
And again, he's going to make the call. I wonder if these are going to be the games, how this is going to run this month. Now, the turn's a 9. If people are going to take shots, playing off the fact that nobody necessarily hit the flop, and now Aaron's going to come out and lead. He's got bottom pair, and he's got a gut shot to the queen. And we can see that Armando was just making a move with King 6 on the flop. He has the same gut shot.
And is he looking to make a remove?
Well, he's got purple chips in his hand, which are quarters. And it's a $100 bet here on the turn by Aaron.
I think he's going to release it. Yeah, he does.
Do you see what I mean, Dave? I mean, sometimes a well-disciplined cash player, when you don't have escalating blinds like you do in a tournament, they can pick their spots, they can wait it out. You don't necessarily have to make moves like a king-6 on that type of flop. I wonder if we're going to see more moves with nothing with these types of players in the next month.
It's hard to turn off and turn on the button, the tournament and the cash game button. Really, really great players can do it, but it's tough to.
Right.
You can't sit and wait and pick your spots in a tournament. You just can't do it unless you're, unless the deck has hit you in the head. Like last night, we saw Kirk. He waited for the hands, but he kept picking up pocket aces and ace king and queens.
Right.
But unless the deck hits you across the face, you've got to make moves in tournaments. But in a cash game, it's not like that at all. Remember, if you buy in this game for $1,500 or $2,000, the blinds are only $510.
Button's over here in seat 8. Richie Rich is going to limp in here with deuce 4 offsuit. Now, ace queen in the small blind in seat 9. I can see that. Let's see if he pops a raise here. Couple limpers.
Yeah. Do it up. How much? What's your poison?
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to raise.
Tell me what your poison is.
Ace of diamonds, I believe queen of spades here. Yeah, that's what he's got. And he's going to raise it up here to 50, Dave. And now the button's in there with ace 5 suited. He has position, and he's going to make the call. And let's see if an ace comes out here.
He gets in trouble.
Got about $140 pot here going heads up. Here we go.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Leo flops the nut flush. I guess that's what you're looking for when you're in there with that. And he's going to check right behind Amir here. Check, check on the flop.
Now, this is the problem with calling a hand like ace 5 of hearts. Okay?
Turns a king.
Now, the best card possible for Leo would be like an offsuit jack, like a jack of clubs come out.
Right.
Because obviously that would make Amir give a straight, and maybe he'd actually make some money off
Well, you wonder, Amir raised and then checked the flop, and now he's checked again on the turn. You might have gotten him to bet there trying to represent ace-king, but he has not. And now Leo is going to come out and bet.
Yeah. And sure enough, we've seen 2 players slow play their hands so far.
And Amir quickly gets away from it. That's 70. The funny thing here is I know your style and my style. If we for some reason had raised it up with ace-queen and we got it heads up, well, number one, we're probably going to bet the flop. But if for some reason we checked it and the guy checked behind us and a king pops on the turn, I'm probably going to bet the turn if I check the flop.
Yeah, I mean, trying to think of a time. I mean, it's really, really rare that I would check the flop when I bet. If I raise out of the smaller big blinds, I'm pretty much almost always, I mean, I'm saying 95% of the time, going to bet.
Here's another scenario, too, that, you and I might have got involved with. We might have bet the flop. The guy might have made a smooth call. The king comes on the turn. I'm probably going to bet again from the small blind with an offsuit king. Possibly not. You never know, but...
Yeah.
That's more than enough. You could have had a king deuce.
Limped
I mean, hand, I probably would have lost more money than Amir lost in that hand.
Yeah.
Now you've got me steaming.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions. John Alden has emailed us and could you explain what a live straddle is? And again, actually, we're discussing, Dave, as Amir is going to raise it here on the button. Looks like to 35 total with Jack 10. We're probably going to get all these terminologies and such on the website so people can go and...
So keep checking out live@thebike.com.
I mean, a straddle is just double the size of the blind. When you're under the gun, you get the option to come back around.
Right.
Now, Sai is going to call here with ace-deuce out of position.
Well, he's hit a pair. He's way ahead of Amir here.
He's going to check, and Amir is going to check right behind him. Turns a queen. Now, Amir's done this, raised it pre-flop, and has not bet, and now he gets away from it again. So 2 times he's raised it pre-flop. When he missed, he checked and did not get himself involved.
Yeah, now the first time, you could make the argument that I was out of position. I didn't want to bet it. Okay. He also didn't have an ace of hearts in his hand or the queen of hearts in his hand.
Yeah.
So he really had no pair, no draw. But that time, he's in position, and the guy checks to him. Why not bet?
Again, this is an interesting learning experience for Dave and I because we are not familiar with any of these players, so we're kind of do it totally cold here. Richie Rich is going to fold here. Limp here. Now, Sai's going to limp in with ace-6 offsuit mid-position from seat 7. Seat 9 gets away from ace-3 in the cutoff offsuit. And it looks like the button's got a 9-10 offsuit here, and that is Gary. And he looks like he's just going to make a limp.
And we're going to go 5 ways here, I think.
Now, Satish is going to complete with 6-10 of clubs, and Aaron gets a free ride here. So 5-way action here. It's a $50 pot. King, Jack, Deuce. Looks like it's missed everyone. Nobody has
5 ways and nobody has anything.
Yep.
The fake bracelet and the fake Rolex.
Yeah, Amir is not in the hand with ace-3. He is not in there.
Gets checked around. The turn is an 8. Now
Well-
Satish has a, Satish has a flush draw now.
Yeah, and Johnny and Aaron have both made a pair. And
Satish,
interesting, Gary's open-ended.
Satish checked it, and now seat number 6, that's Johnny. He's going to come out and bet 75 here with 7-8.
I don't even know, brother. Honestly,
Now, you can kind of tell here that Gary's actually, it looks like, it says that he's a favorite. He's open-ended with overcards.
Well, you got to think. Look at his hand here. Any 7,
Yep.
any queen, any 9, or any 10, and he's got the pot.
100, 200 stud and a total
Now, that is a favorite collectively over the field. Obviously, he's not a favorite heads up.
Right, exactly.
They're not going to get involved with it.
He's also not a he has the favored hand there, but
Right.
he's not a favorite against the entire field, obviously.
Well, he's a favorite against the entire field, not over 50%.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you.
Email here from David Stanfield. He said, Spartan Dave. Well, let's take a look at a chip count here.
And we look at what everybody's pretty much got now. About $10,000 on the table, not bad.
Now, this game did start about an hour and a half ago, so let's take a look at what they're at now. And it might not reflect what we've necessarily seen. So Richie Rich actually found a way to lose about $1,000 before the show started. Because he's up a couple hundred in the show. Size down $1,000.
And everybody else is up a little bit.
Now, it looks like seat number 6 here has raised with ace-queen offsuit. And seat 7's going to make a smooth call with queen jack suited. He is dominated.
Now, you and I always talk about queen jack suited as a hand that it can be a trouble hand. It's not the hand you're playing in a raised pot. You're not looking for one pair here, folks.
Well, Richie Rich is going to make the call. I like his hand. He's got a gap-suited connector.
Why not? Oh, look, nice, not bad a flop for him either.
He's got the bottom end of an open-ended straight draw here, 4, 6, 10.
And nobody has a pair here.
Let's see if Johnny is going to make the continuation bet.
And you look at the percentages there, folks. If Johnny makes a bet here, you imagine Sai's going to throw it away.
Yeah.
If Richie Rich puts a little check raise in here, he'll probably take it down.
Again, you can see with 2 cards to come, no pair versus no pair with a draw. The no pair with a draw is going to be a favorite, even though ace high is in the lead. And look at this, Sai is going to take one off here. We see him do it again. And that's probably going to get Richie Rich definitely in behind him.
Oh,
He's just going to
definitely,
make the smooth call. And he shows it to everyone. Here we go to the turn. Turn is an 8. That's no help. Pot is about, I want to say, about 225 now. It gets checked over to Sai, and now he's going to bet. He's got a gut shot straight draw with overcards, and Richie Rich quickly calls.
And he's just calling now if he would raise at all. If he would ever raise with his semi-bluff here.
Yeah.
If he'd ever raise with his draw here, he would take the hand down.
Got a $500 pot, and look at this. The straight comes here for Richie Rich. He's got the bottom end of it, though. Anyone with the 9 would have a higher straight, and he's going to come out and bet here.
Yeah, he's going to put a little bet out there.
I gotta bet it, sir. I got a huge hand.
He bets, it looks like,
And he says he has a huge hand. It's actually not that big.
he's going to bet 400 into about a $500 pot. And again, we've seen Sai. I don't want to beat this to death, Dave, but kind of, I would expect those types of moves in a tournament.
No, you can't, sir.
Yeah,
I mean, if you even saw those moves in a tournament.
You
know.
definitely expect it more in
Yeah.
a tournament. And the funny thing is, Richie Rich bet the river, hoping that maybe he'd get called by, say, ace-10, maybe pocket jack, something like that.
I'm telling you, you can't.
But obviously the only way he was going to make any more money on that was to actually check
Yeah.
and let Sai bluff up with his money.
Appreciate when it hit, the guy stayed very stoked.
Once again, we're live at the Bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hansen. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 Pacific time. This month's going to be a special month here. It's Winning at the Green going on at the Bicycle Casino, which means we're probably going to have some big no-limit games every night.
You guys got good poker face, right?
Normally Thursdays are smaller no-limit game. Usually we have an $80 buy-in game with two blinds. But tonight we put up the $500 game, and the blinds are $510.
We haven't had this game on in a while, Dave, ever since we moved our whale game to $25.50.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons I really pushed for it tonight as well. It's considering Wednesday nights are $25.50
Yeah.
game, Friday's a $10-20 game. We actually haven't seen this game.
Amir is going to raise it up here to 40 with ace-king. Gary's going to make a smooth call with 10s to his left.
Watch out for my little suited man.
And I'd like to say that this game right now is definitely your bread and butter, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, I
But this
love
game
this
is
game.
playing smaller than usually I play in the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I love this
Yeah.
game here. I also love the 10-20 game.
Yeah.
That's why I was hoping on the low end.
These pre-flop raises have seemed a little bit small, and again, we're not that deep stacked. We're heads up here. Ace-king against pocket 10s for about $100, and there's the ace.
Yep, there's the ace.
Ace 4-3 here.
But once again, you know, against a good player, what's the value of it? And Amir's going to come out and bet right away.
Yeah, he's going to bet the pot.
You know, and it's only one overcard, but it's the ultimate scare card. There's an ace out there, folks.
The biggest pot I won.
You know, if there's a jack or a queen out there, you know, maybe Gary calls, but with an ace out there.
$4,500 win.
This is sometimes, you know, a difficult decision with tens. I talk about when the flop comes out Jack 4-3, and let's say the guy has ace Jack, and you've got tens. You're in a tough spot, right?
You are. I mean, the case here that it's a no-limit game, and you've got to realize that if you call him here, the likelihood is you're going to face a bet on the turn and the river as well.
He's going to make the call
and
here,
you're probably
Dave.
not going to improve.
Well, the turn is a 6, and now the pot's 300, and seat 9 is looking over at Gary.
Now, would you ever? Now, this is a play Jonas might make.
Well, he's going to move all in here.
Well, that's not a play Jonas would make. A play Jonas might make here actually is he might actually check it this time.
Yeah.
Checks it one more time, put in a guy on either a weaker ace, ace queen, ace jack, or like tens or jacks. Checks it once, kind of confuses his opponent. Maybe even checks, and in the river he puts in a nice $300 or $400 value bet and gets paid off.
Well, there's a, you know, if you make that play too, if you check, and again, you know, this is kind of fundamental. We're not really playing that deep. Now the guy looked like he only had about 500 left. You've built a pot up to about 300. If you check it once, and now he comes out and bets 175 or 200, you can then check raise him all in. And you never know. Some guys won't even get away from tens at that point.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Because if you come out and fire again, and he's got tens there, he might then fold. A lot of people will just call in position.
Right.
Sometimes a play I am a proponent of to see what happens on the turn. And you might think, the guy with tens might think, well, maybe this guy's got kings, queens, or jacks, and I can take it away from him right here on the turn.
Yeah, I mean, you and I obviously are not proponents of slow playing a hand.
Right.
And I like the bet with the ace-king right away. That was fine. But sometimes, hey, sometimes you might bet that turn. Sometimes you might just check it.
Yeah.
Just confuse your opponent a little bit. Make it look like, hey, I tried to steal it once, and it didn't work. Okay, I'll check it down.
Well, seat 9 is going to raise up here to 30. Again, the raises are not that big. And again, you know, brings it back to maybe kind of like tournament-esque.
Yeah.
You know, 3 times the big blind.
Exactly.
Seat 9 raises with king, jack of hearts.
Well, I don't recognize a lot of these players, and you got to. I mean, I recognize them, but only from the tournament circuit. And you have to assume a lot of them are here for the tournaments.
Now, Aaron is going to call here with kind of a trouble hand, ace-10 offsuit. He is in position.
Yeah, he's got the best hand, actually, but how does he know that?
Cy is in there with the weak ace. Johnny's in there with 7-8, and Leo's got a little suited connector. So we are going to see this 5 ways times 30. It's a $150 pot, and Amir is the pre-flop raiser. And the flop comes out 10-8-5. Leo here has got a flush draw.
And Aaron's got top pair, top kicker here, folks. He also has the 10 of spades in his hand, so it's one less spade if somebody is going for the spade draw.
I saw you itching, okay? Don't sit there all stoic. I know you're betting. Check.
Amir is not going to continue to bet.
You won't let me.
And Aaron's going to throw a bet out. Why not? Check to him with ace-10.
And Amir said that I saw you were itching to bet.
He bets 100 into a $150 pot. So now the pot is $250, and it's over here to Cy. He's going to get rid of it. Let's see what Leo does with the flush draw.
Now, this is one of those hands that flush draws in no-limit cash games, it can be tough to play these hands because you've got to realize that that's the price for one card.
And he's about, why? He just gets rid of it.
Yeah, you know, I don't mind that play. He has no other draw. I mean, let's say it was 5-7, you know, 5 ace with 2 spades, and he's got kind of a straight draw as well.
Yeah, turn would have been a 10, Dave.
Yeah, just a naked spade draw.
Yeah.
There's also very little, oftentimes against a good player, there's very little implied odds because the flush is so obvious. Everybody looks for that flush.
Email here from Ben Alley says, hey guys, I love the show. I've been playing a lot of limit hold'em, mostly 3-6 in a casino. And I've been thinking about making a shot into 10-20. I was wondering what you guys thought of jumping up from 3-6, where pretty much straightforward tight aggressive wins the most, and going up to 10-20. Let me make a suggestion. I don't want to get into this too much. But if you actually have a casino that spreads a 10-20 game with $5 chips, make the jump up to 8-16. It's a lot better game.
It depends. It depends what kind of game you like, though,
Yeah.
Bart. I actually prefer a 10-20 game. I mean, you and I talk about, depending on what kind of style of poker you play, I'd rather a 10-20 game where the game is played a little tight, a little passive, and I can kind of run the game over. The 8-16 game, man, you just kind of like put your chips in and hold on.
Yeah.
Hope your hand holds up.
Richie Rich is going to bring her in for the raise here with ace-king. He's not going to see a flop.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate there.
Yeah. We have an email here, Dave, from Jesus Christ. He says, hi,
dang.
Bart and David. I've been watching you
God.
guys, both on the show and in your daily lives. I see you when you're sleeping. I know when you're awake. I've always wondered, if you two were to get into a fight, which one of you would win? Also, would the winner gloat, or would he remain graceful? Oh, interesting. I think I have about 50 pounds on Dave.
I've always wondered if you two were to get into a fight, which one of you would win? Would the winner gloat? You would definitely gloat. I know you would.
Seat 4 is going to limp in. It's a good point, actually. You probably have a little more experience with fist fights, being the hockey player that you are, right?
Yeah, but I'm smart enough not to mess with somebody who's got 50 pounds on him.
King Jack 4 here on the flop. It was limped around. It misses everybody.
You'd probably take me. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
$30 bet here by Armando, and he actually has the best hand, and he looks like he's going to take it down here, and he does.
Yeah, I want to throw this at you, Bart. The hand before, when we saw Amir had ace-king and the guy in seat 1 had 10s, okay?
Yep.
If I were to play a hand with you, okay, I raised pre-flop with ace-king, you smooth call me with 10s.
Yep.
You have no idea what I have, though. The flop comes out ace-3-4. I bet $100. You go, you know what, I think Dave's just continuing. I'm going to call him one time. Maybe he's got king, queen, maybe he's got 8. So you call me one time.
Right.
Now the turn comes out, and I check it. Doesn't it, I mean, aren't I kind of playing it almost like I took a shot at it with king, queen, or king, jack, I missed, okay, he called me, I'm going to give up on it?
Yeah, it does.
And then the river, when I bet at it, looks, wait a second, what, now you're going to bluff at it?
See no more.
We got a little bit of a raise here by Richie Rich. He's got pocket 10s, and he's making real raises. He's going to raise it up to 100. He's trying to make the game bigger.
Hold up.
Seat 6 is out of there.
And I was telling Richie, he asked me how the game plays, and I go, you know what, sometimes this game plays crazy.
Yeah.
It plays like a 20-40 game, and sometimes it plays a little small.
Now, Gary only has 500 in front of him. He's got ace-jack suited. Does he want to commit 20% of his stack with ace-jack suited?
Out of position with ace-jack suited.
Well, he's going to make the call.
It's funny, I mean, I would have rather call with 9s.
Now, Aaron's got pocket 5s, and he looks like he's at least $1,000 deep. Now that Gary calls in between, is he going to take one off here with 5s?
Well, you look at it, you're getting 2-1 on your money, and obviously you can double up off of
right.
seat number 5 there.
Well, he folds. Oh, wow, and a set of 10s for Richie Rich, and is Gary going to go broke here?
And we talk about this all the
and
time.
look, he goes check on the flop, turns a king.
You know, if they don't put money in here soon, a card come up. Now, Gary's got a gut shot here.
Gary's going to bet 50 into a pot that's $200. So now for Richie Rich, I mean, is he thinking, am I just going to slow play because if I raise, I'm going to scare this guy away? But he's going to raise it to 150.
Yeah.
And Gary immediately calls Dave, and he only has about 250 left.
Well, he's got an out. He needs a queen.
Here we go to the river. And the river is an 8. And at this point, you might as well just put the guy all in, and he does. And seat 1 instantly calls with ace-jack.
Yeah.
And Richie Rich is going to take it down there with a set of 10s.
And this is the problem with ace-jack, folks. We talk about it all the time. You're either going to win a small pot or lose a big one, folks. Think about it. If the flop comes out ace-7-4, the only money you're going to win is the possible money that Richie Rich there bluffs into you.
Yeah.
He's going to quickly realize that, okay, this guy's probably got an ace. I'm not going to lose any money on it. But you're only going to get action when your opponent has something.
Exactly, a set to ace jack.
You also don't know what you're rooting for. If an ace comes off and your opponent has ace king or ace queen, well, then you're dead. And if a jack comes up and your opponent has queens, kings, or aces, you're
I was
dead.
hoping you had ace king. I'm ace king, please. Sit 3.
Well, it looks like seat 1's going to rebuy here. We don't know how much yet. We'll get word. I can see that seat 2's got pocket kings here, and he's in the big blind. That's Satish.
Here's 5 more. Thank you. No, let's go to Yale.
Seat 1 is just going to buy 500 more here, Dave.
Okay. Well, you know, a lot of these players might not be accustomed to playing high limits. Our only suggestion, if you're going to play if you really only want to play with $500,
Why not play the 3-5 game?
exactly.
Right.
We've got a game for that.
Well, Richie Rich is going to bring this one in. He's got 8-9 suited in middle position here.
I got to tell you, actually, I played the 3-5. I couldn't get into the $1,000 game last night, and there was no 500 game last night. So I played a 3-5 game, and I was playing like a complete maniac and driving the table crazy.
Did you do well?
Yeah, I won a couple hundred.
Well, let's see what Satish is going to do. It's got raised to him. Is he going to just try to play a trap here against an aggressive player? Because it's back around to him, and he's heads up in the blind with kings. Now, from what we have seen, Richie Rich has really slow played his hands when he hits the flop.
Yeah, right now, if you were to play against Richie Rich and you didn't know any better,
Yeah.
if he raised and then checked the flop, then you're scared.
Now, Satish has made it 100 more, and Richie Rich instantly calls. Looks like Satish might only have about 800 in front of him. Oh, what a flop for Richie Rich. He's picked up a flush draw.
And I imagine a lot of the money's going to go in right here, folks.
It's a $300 pot. Satish is going to bet 200 here. And Richie Rich, let's see what he's going to do.
I think he said, I think I'm going to double you up.
Oh, okay. You can't possibly double up.
And he makes a quick call here, Dave. Quickly calls. It's a $700 pot to the turn.
It's funny, we don't see him raising with his draws.
Turns a 5. He's still just got a dry flush draw.
And he's in bad shape here. He needs a spade and only a spade, folks.
And he's going to move the rest all in here. Now it becomes a math problem. Satish is going to move in for about 515 into a $700 pot. It's a $1,215 pot, $500 is call with one card to come.
Yeah.
Easy laydown, right?
Yeah, it really is. You know, when you play your spades, and we were just talking about that, playing a spade draw like this.
And he makes the call. He's going to gamble it up here, Dave.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Spade, baby. Come on.
He needs a spade. Does not come.
Doesn't come.
Yep. That's a gamble for sure.
Hey, you know what he said? He came into the game and said, I'm going to gamble it up a little bit.
Yep.
And that's definitely a gamble. And that's the problem with going for those draws, folks. You only get one. He bought the turn for $200. But then you've got to realize that if you don't hit on the turn, you're probably going to be faced with an all-in bet on the turn.
Right. On the river. Yeah.
Give me that tip money back.
And Baron Vanger Toth over here, for any new to the show, he's a constant 2+2 poster. Says, hey, why not recommend a guy move from 3-6 to, say, I don't know, 4-8, 5-10, 6-12, etc.? Yeah, that's not a bad move. I mean, I remember playing, I went from 3-6 to 4-8. I didn't really like the 4-8 structure. So I went from 3-6 to 6-12. And then I moved to 9-18. 3-6 to 10-20 is a pretty big jump, though, isn't it?
The 7 came on the river.
Yeah.
There's a spade.
I mean, if your bankroll can withstand it and you're ready to take those kind of swings, hey. But you got to realize that, you know, if you're normally playing 3-6 where your daily swings are $100, and you go to play 10-20 where your daily swings can easily be $600, $700, $800,
I told you I was going to double you up.
is that going to affect the way you play? Are you going to start playing it a little less aggressively?
So seat number 2 doubles through there, about over $1,000. No, boy, like $2,500 pot there.
Yeah, it was a big pot.
4-way action linked around. Ace, 9 here. Nobody has an ace.
Yeah, seat number 6 has got a 9.
And he's going to come out and bet.
Good old Johnny there.
Bets 35 here with 95 suited.
Now, let me ask you this, Bart. What percentage of the time, if somebody were to bet right into a flop of ace, ace, 9, what percentage of the time would they have aces? Would they have an ace, and what percentage of the time would they have a 9?
Well, again, we haven't seen these guys play. Now, let's see what
I'm saying,
Armando is
but
going
across the board, let's say you're sitting down at the table, you don't know the players you're playing against. What percentage would you say they would have a 9 in this case? You know? Let's say you're sitting at this table and you're not sure what the guy has.
I would say
90%,
80, 85, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, again, and sometimes, you know, the reasons why I try to stay away from ace-X suited from early position. Okay, you got it limped around. You got 7 players, and now you get this flop ace, 9. And anyone says, well, you flop trips. You got a great hand. Well, I guess so. But it's almost like you're going to throw a bet out, and if you get more than one caller, you almost have to shut down with something like ace-4, don't you?
You got to realize in no-limit hold'em, especially deep stack no-limit hold'em, you're looking to play hands that can win big pots.
Right.
And ace-X small is not going to win a lot of money on that kind of flop. You might win a lot of money if you flop trips. I mean, trips, the bottom one. Let's say you have ace-4 and you come out 4-4 king.
Well, you also would, win a lot of money if you flopped with ace-9. But again, how often is that going to happen? Right?
Well, yeah, of course.
We got a little raise here by seat 6.
You know, if you get lucky enough and hit 2 pair and somebody else is ace-king, hey, okay.
Johnny has brought this one in here. Richie Rich straddled it. Johnny brought it in for 60. And again, I find it somewhat amusing that these guys are raising 3 to 4 times the big blind.
Well, you know.
And Richie is going to make the call here. We're 6-8 off. And we're going to see it heads up here.
It's funny sometimes. That's what people are trained to raise.
Yeah. King, Jack, King here. And it goes check, check. Johnny did not bet here. He picked a piece of the Jack.
Now, is he inducing a bluff here, hoping Richie Rich maybe bluffs at it?
Turns a 9. And now Johnny is going to come out and bet 150. Or excuse me, Richie's going to come out and bet 150. And you can see he is drawing dead.
Yeah, he's actually drawing dead here. Unless Johnny folds, he cannot win the pot. And you're wondering, is Johnny, was he slow playing the ace-jack there? I mean, I can't imagine he's going to fold this. Might you just smooth call this one more time and let your opponent bluff into you one more time?
Well, let's see what he's going to do.
I mean, raising doesn't have any value.
Say,
you're only going to get called by a hand that has a king.
I don't think you can raise here. I think it's a call if you want to continue with the hand.
Well,
you know
there's just no value to raising.
Yeah. And he does make the call.
Unless you put somebody, if he has a queen or a 10 in his hand, hey, he does have a shot at you, and you might want to get him off the hand.
$420 pot. Let's see if a scare card comes on the river and a 10 comes, and now Johnny's hand is really just a bluff catcher. Because a queen would bring a straight with anyone's hand.
And that's the danger of not raising. I was going to say, that's the only reason you want to raise is just in case you might get scared out of the pot if, say, a queen or a 10 were to fall.
Well, it's a $420 pot. Richie knows he has to bet, and he's going to come out and bet $400.
Into about a $400 pot.
He's going to bet the pot, and now if you're Johnny, you really got to think, well, would this guy bet this amount? Would he bet smaller with a made straight? I can't beat a king.
And we also know, Richie probably would have checked the king on the flop, too.
Yep.
I mean, you can't beat anything.
Would he come out and bet 400 on the river if he just had a king here and not a straight? That's the other issue.
Well, we saw earlier, he overbet the pot, actually, when he had the bottom end of the straight, and anybody with a 9 would have had a higher straight.
And Johnny has really cornered himself into this bad situation by playing this hand passively.
I mean, I thought he checked the flop to induce a bluff, and sure enough, it worked.
But again, with that board there on the turn, I was wondering if, say, a 10 came out.
Wow.
And he lays it down.
And that was what I was going to say.
And look at this, Richie Rich shows the bluff. There it is.
I got to tell you, I don't mind not raising if I'm Johnny on the turn there. But you've got to realize that if a scary card comes up for a 10 or a queen, you might scare yourself out of not calling.
Yep.
8-6 offsuit.
And Richie Rich shows the bluff. And that's kind of similar to the way I was playing last night in the 3-5 game. I moved all in like 6 times out of like 12 hands. And I ended up catching like 3 people because they just assumed I had nothing.
Email here from Rich French. Are you guys going to play at any of the events at the bike this month? Also, what are the chances that one of the final tables will get played on live stream? I can't answer the stream question off the top of my head. It's probably close to 0. I don't know, Dave, if you're going to play in Saturday's multi-rebuy, but I'm going to not play on Saturday, but I'm going to play on Sunday, which is an extra sports 300 no limit, no rebuys. I'd rather play that than on Saturday.
Wow.
I don't know if you'd seen that. A lot of people missed that, but yeah.
Yeah, I might play in Sunday's event, too.
Yeah.
You want to do a last longer?
Yeah. You want to swap 1%?
I'll swap 1%. We'll do like, what, a $200 last longer?
You know the thing about doing last longers in tournaments? No, actually, you know what? I don't want to do that because I want to play to win. I don't give a shit if I get knocked out early. You know what I mean? Shouldn't you have that attitude going in?
Yeah, you should.
Richie Rich is in the blind here.
It's good for me, though, because that way it just ensures I don't play like an ass. I actually stay in the tournament.
Richie's going to raise it up to 100 here. He's really driving the table. He's got ace-king in the big blind. And it's funny, Armando's thinking about calling. He didn't call, but it's great that Richie Rich is on this table because, you see a guy like Armando play so tight the entire night, and then he might make a call with only being $800 deep, a 6-5 offsuit out of position, because he thinks this guy's full of it, because he's raising so much.
That's the problem, though. Some people don't realize, they go, this guy's full of it, he has nothing. Okay, buddy, you have 6 high out of position.
Right.
I bet you his bluff can beat your bluff.
Test that theory when we're in the pot. Let's see what happens.
It's actually the problem. I tell you, I was playing the Invitational, and I bluffed Tony G, and he re-bluffed me. And I remember looking at it going, man, I know you're bluffing, Tony, but I can't call you because I have 8 high.
He had moved all in?
Yeah. I go, your bluff is probably higher than my bluff. But anyway, to answer your question, Richard, thanks a lot for the email. We really appreciate it. I am definitely going to play a lot of events on the weekends.
Actually, there's only a couple opportunities for us to play events.
I actually tried to buy my seat to the main event last night. The main event, by the way, is March 24th, and it is a $2,500 buy-in tournament. And I tried to buy it because they gave away a seat last night, and I offered the winner $2,100 for it. But Denny came over and said it was not transferable.
We got a raise here out of seat 9 by Amir. He's got ace-queen.
You know the saddest thing? I offered the guy $2,100, and I offered Denny a hot dog, and he still turned me down.
Hey, look at this. We're going to see a flop here a couple ways. We cannot see Richie Rich's hand. 8-7-6.
Well, Sai's got top pair.
Richie Rich has got 9 threes open-ended. And Sai's going to come out and bet here with Queen 8. Now, seat 9 was the pre-flop raiser. He folds with ace.
Well, Richie Rich is open-ended with a backdoor heart draw.
And he's going to gamble. He's going to make the call.
Now, we see right away, Richie Rich is calling with his draws.
Yeah.
And there he's made it. But it is a third spade out there. How aggressive can he really play it? Now, Sai is drawing dead, folks. But Sai's going to move all in.
And the
anyway.
river's a 10, and Sai moves
No, the turn's a 10, actually.
excuse me, the turn's a 10, and Sai moves all in. And Richie Rich calls with a straight.
Yeah.
And that is it. The only thing that can happen here is if a 9 comes out, they'll
They chop it up. And that's why you see 93% next to it. There's a
And
slight
this pot
chance
is
of
going to be over $1,000 again. Richie Rich really taking command of this table. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's going to get this table up in a frenzy. Where's Mike?
Yeah.
No, no.
Here we go to the river. A 9 will only chop it, and the river here is a jack. Wow, that's a 4th spade, but neither player has spades. Unbelievable.
I'm going to get even. Am I even yet? You guys should see how I play when I'm even.
What do you think about you cutting your hair like that, man? You know, it's funny, when my wife cut my hair this time, and she, you know, obviously you see my somewhat short hairdo here, she actually cut part of it as a mohawk, just to see how it would look. And she said no on the mohawk. But I'm thinking, you know, it looks pretty good. Richie Rich,
Should I get a color change?
it works for him.
I think I might be even. No, I don't know. I'm not even. I did really good, and I doubled.
The button looks like it's moved over here to, I believe it's in seat 5.
No, but I did it once.
I mean, that's the only thing that's odd, and Isaac just pointed it out. You know, you got a mohawk. Should be wearing some sort of, like, you know, leather jacket or something, or have some tattoos or something like that. He's got like a polo shirt.
I did. And I could have easily snapped you off. I had a couple outs, sir.
Well,
Always having fun.
a lot of chips on the table.
It's amazing. Most of these guys bought in for 500 only.
Right.
But the game's been enough action the first hour of the show that most players either bought in again. And, you know, suddenly we probably got close to $13,000 and $14,000 on the table, folks.
Button's going to make it 40 to go here. He's got Queen Jack, Richie Rich. Now, Small Blind's got a deuce 4 of hearts. He's going to make the call. And Sai, he might be steaming a little bit here, Dave. He's got King 5. He makes the call. Here we go, 3 ways. Wow, Richie Rich flops top 2. Is he going to slow play it like he has been, Dave? But again, he's almost like playing like Corporation Mike. Why not bet this?
Yeah, you know what? There are some flops that you can slow play a little bit, like the ace-6 deuce one.
Yeah.
But this one, do you really want to slow play? There's 2 clubs out there. There are straight draws out there.
Yeah, and he's going to bet. This time he's going to bet. He's going to bet 120.
And you know what? If you're Richie Rich here, you want to bet all the time because you're betting your bluffs, you're betting your made hands. And that's the way, if you're going to be a maniac like this, hey, never stop.
Look at Sai. He's thinking about making a move on this guy.
That's the reason you bet.
High.
That's the reason you bet here. By betting, you give Sai a chance to make this move.
All right, I'll give you $5 if you can guess exactly what I have. You got one shot. Everyone
Oh,
has a
shit.
shot.
Hold on a second.
Hurry. Can I get a rack?
I was going to say queen.
I need a rack.
You didn't get to me.
I need a color. All right, how about $5?
Every time he says, can I get a rack, one of these cocktail wedges walks by.
Button moves over here to seat 6.
Sorry, go there. You want $5?
Oh, look at that. Tuckman went out to the table, and Richie Rich gave him $5.
When I bet 400, you like that 400 on the river, and that was hot, huh?
Wow, Leo's got ace king here in the big
I'm still
blind.
only even.
Now, seat 6 on the button has pocket kings
I bought it
for Johnny.
You guys are snapping me off. I can't make any money. I got to feed my children. I'm sure I got
Limp
them out
here by
somewhere.
seat 3 with deuce 4 of hearts.
As many-
Here comes the monster
Have you
red.
ever
Seat
been to
4 is
Alcatraz?
limped
You know what
in.
that is, then I might have to.
Wow,
Richie Rich
walked
is not
into this
gonna
one,
play,
huh?
And Johnny's got kings on the button. Let's see how he's going to play it. And then let's see how Leo plays the big blind. You know, some people might re-raise. You don't necessarily give credit to a button raise here. But Johnny's got a real hand. He's got kings. He's going to make it 100 to go here, Dave.
I didn't do nothing. I have a girlfriend. I'm committed. I went down
And let's
there.
see how Leo's going to play it here with the ace-king.
No.
Again, tournament play. Might we see some all-in moves, re-raises with ace-king here?
I went down there.
Yeah,
in these games?
You know, it's not always...
And look at that, I called it. He moves all in. He's moved all in for over 1,000 with ace-king. I was wondering how long it would take. Leo with ace-king. I was wondering how long it would take for us to see this from some of these guys here.
But he's moved all in for... I mean, the pot's only like 100. He's moved all in for 800?
He's moved all... He's got about 1,000 there. The raise was 100, and Johnny instantly calls, and Leo's going to need a lot of help. He's got ace-king. I was wondering if we were going to see this sometime.
People have been bugging us to watch tournament poker.
Right.
This is tournament poker, folks.
Here we go to the flop. Leo needs some help. Oh, an ace, but Johnny flops a set of kings. Turn is a 5, and the river is a queen, and Johnny's going to take it down. That's unbelievable.
Wow. You know, I got to tell you, I don't think there's any way this hand is going any differently, though. Let's say Leo just smooth calls.
Right.
I mean, can he get away from it?
Yeah. Wow.
That's not lame. Just answering 22 Skidoo's little post here on 2+2, and I've got a special liking here for this guy because of his avatar. He says, I'm confused. Now he says 90% of the time people have got an ace or a 9. And he was talking about the flop where the flop was ace, ace, 9.
Right.
And actually my question to Bart was, I said, when somebody bets right into a flop of ace, ace, 9, what do they have 90% of the time?
Right.
And 90% of the time, they don't have an ace. They probably have the 9.
Yeah.
Because most people do not bet their trips right away. They'll slow play. And that was my point there.
I'm dangerous if I get shit.
Email here by David Stanfield. I'm an avid watcher of the show and keep noticing, like with tonight, those slick winning of the green hats, other bike hats, spinner card protectors. Besides the easy way of coming to the bike and buying/acquiring them, is there any way for the viewers like myself who can't just come down to purchase them? Web store, perhaps? It's coming. It's coming. I'm getting word.
Keep checking out liveathebike.com, folks. I mean, we've got new things on the site almost every day. And our producers assure us that a store is coming soon.
We got a raise here by Seat 6. He's on fire.
I've been dying for a Bart bobblehead for a long time.
If they can do it with Mark Safe, why can't they do it with Bart? I mean, the style of head, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's got a big head. You got a big head. No problem.
That's what I mean. Seat 6 has raised it up here with deuce 5 offsuit. He's going to play his rush here, Dave.
Well, you know what? Hey, he's...
And look at this. Cy is going to call here with queen 10 suited. It's about a $70 raise.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you adjust your style, and I was talking about the way I played last night. Sometimes if you sit down at a table that's really tight and passive, and you want the table to loosen up, you kind of show off of a gambler. You play like a gambler for, say, 20 minutes, and you get the whole table gambling.
Now,
and
let's
that's
see
what
if
Richie's done.
Yeah, no, Richie's not going to get involved with ace-5 here, and we're going to see 5-way action. It's going to be about a $350 flop. Here we go. Wow, queen 9-10, top 2 pair for Cy here.
It's not a great flop for him, though. It's not a flop I love.
Well, you really got to protect your hand here.
Oh, I mean, King Jack's already got the nuts here, folks. I mean, Queen 10 is not a hand that I'm like, oh, wow, what a great hand.
Now, let's see if Johnny makes a continuation bet here, Dave. He was the pre-flop raiser with deuce 5. I mean, yeah, he's not going to. I'm just going to say, this board is so connected. And Cy is just going to move all in. It looks like he's got 400. I like the move. I mean, the pot's about 350. What else is the move here? He gets checked you on the button.
I like what Johnny did there. He reached, he grabbed 2 stacks.
Yeah.
And then he tried to, and he just could not do it.
Yeah.
And good for him, obviously, because I think Cy definitely would have called.
I'm laying some bear traps. I'm going to wipe someone out.
So Cy's going to move all in here, and nobody can call this.
No, not Leo's already folded ace-10.
Yeah.
And obviously we got 3-5 in seat 1.
Actually, Leo's not folded yet. He hasn't folded yet.
Oh, he hasn't? I'm sorry.
And he might think that Cy is full of it here. This is amazing stuff.
Well, the thing is, in a tournament play, when somebody moves all in like this, don't they often have, say, just a jack?
I mean, he's got another, looks like 300 in front of him. If he makes this call, we're going to have another, about another $1,000 pot.
Well, the pot is what, about, now you want to say the pot's about $700?
Pot. $750, actually.
$750, $380 to call.
Yep.
Okay.
But you've got 1, 2, 3 players behind you.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly wouldn't put Cy on King Jack here, but would you put Cy maybe on Jack 10 or Jack 9?
Well, he's going to fold. And now we know everyone else is going to fold, so there it is. Email here from Mike Antolini. Hey guys,
I think you actually got it right tonight.
What are good and great hourly rates for no-limit games with respect to their stakes? Is there a standard rate like there is in limit? Thanks, Mike.
You know, it's hard. I mean, I've always thought the whole standard rate thing was a bunch of crap anyway.
You're talking about, say, like one big bet per hour.
A lot of pros say, well, you should win one big bet an hour. You know what? In the end of it all, it's really, you just got to keep, if you keep extensive hours of yourself, records, of yourself, and you can start looking at it after you play, say, 1,000, 2,000 hours. Start looking at what your hourly rate is.
Yeah.
What a good rate is? Hey, whatever you can survive on.
Yep.
You know, whatever you need to live off of.
Button moves over here to C8.
I mean, keep in mind that I don't think more than 15% of people are actually winning players, and it's probably closer to 10%. So if you're winning it all, hey, good job.
I need some food, man.
I mean, most players are playing for fun. They're recreational players, and they're playing just to have a good time. You got to realize that most players are losers. Losing players, that is.
Limped around here.
Oh, do it.
It's interesting that Richie Rich doesn't seem like, his pre-flop hand selection isn't that bad. He's not calling big raises with ace-5 offsuit. And now he's flopped top 2 pair. Pretty connected board.
Yeah.
Let's see how he's going to play it.
Yeah, he's in pretty good shape here, though. Nobody's got a 4. It's a rainbow board.
Well, seat number 9 is going to come out and bet from early position with top pair, 10-5.
Yeah.
Let's see if Richie raises him here.
I'd like to see a raise right away here. Really try to represent like you have a 4.
Yeah, he's just going to make he's going to make it 125 more.
Good, okay.
Yeah. And again, a la Corporation Mike, we always used to get on Mike about why wouldn't you raise with your big hands because you're doing it so much with your bluffs. And now he really has been, Dave.
And I'll tell you something. Richie Rich is, to me, he's like one of those, he's kind of like me in the sense that he's a fake gambler. He wants to show everybody that he's a loose gambler,
right.
But he's not. He's actually a pretty good, I mean, you can see the way he's playing.
Yeah.
He's not calling with just crap hands.
And again, we've seen Amir play it really passively post-flop. And against any other player, I think this 10-5 would go in the muck instantly. But you look, and now you get the reputation as seat 5. He's thinking about this one. I don't know if he's going to call.
And that's the seeds that Richie Rich has planted the first hour of the show.
Right.
Don't worry about it. I'll find out in 10 minutes what you got anyway. So you may as well show me.
I'll show it at the end. Are you going to raise me?
I'll let you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you sweat. All right? I might even fold, but I'm going to make you sweat.
All right, I appreciate it. I'm going to show my fans. To all my fans out there, that's what Richie's working on.
Well, he likes to show his cards to the rest of the world.
Keep your poker face.
Now, is there any way, if he's going to show cards to everybody?
And he actually shows the hand face up.
If you're going to show your cards to everybody, I'd be looking behind.
Right. Trying to get a read.
No, maybe I got a friend back there.
Yeah.
He doesn't hit one.
He'll call with a lot of things, man. You don't know. It's like you could have 5-3, you could have 2-3.
Amir gets away from it. But again, the fact that he even thought about that.
I did not put you on nothing.
Now, the only thing I'd rather, I like Richie Rich's game so far. I like the image that he's trying to show off. But why show? Why let these people feel like, oh, good laydown?
Yeah.
No, man. Make it, always show it. Make it look like you're bluffing every single time. That way you get paid off.
Post here on 2+2 from Crackhead. Wow, where did they get some of these players from? The local county jail?
Yeah. It's just, I need to
Well,
raise.
we had this conversation last night. Don't you know that all poker players are degenerates?
And we were actually saying the opposite of that for some of the people that were listening to the show. I think it was last night. Johnny's going to raise up here with King-Jack offsuit from mid-position. Looks like we're not going to see a flop here.
Drew all in on that one, Owens?
And again, it's just interesting to say, to state, Dave, that one player can really control and drive a table. Let's say you substituted Richie Rich for some other normal competition that was tight like the rest of the table. I mean, I would have died by now. The show would have been so boring. This would have been ridiculous.
Well, we'll have to thank Richie Rich.
Yeah.
You saved your life tonight.
I love it. It's something about 8-9 suited, man. I call this ace killer. The hand can get there.
And it's funny, he talks about 8-9 suited. He likes that hand. Out of all the suited connectors, it's actually my least favorite hand because if you flop the bottom end of a straight, the flop comes out 10 Jack Queen. In a raised pot, you really got to be worried about Ace King. I really do prefer 7-8, 6-7, 5-4, 6-5. I like those over 8-9.
Dude, they got hard calls that possible calls. I'm betting more than the
talking about an ace-jack.
I mean, I don't dislike 8-9, but out of all of them, that's my least favorite.
Nobody cares anymore.
There's not one person.
We had a raise here to 60
There's not one person at this table that can make
by
that
seat
call.
number 4, Armando.
The way I'm speeding up and slowing down, how do you make that call? You can't.
He's crazy, man.
I'm not
That's
crazy.
man.
I'm just-
Win your money somewhere else.
And,
Leave him alone. Let him do
We're
it.
going to see a call here by Cy, calling a raise by an under-the-gun raiser with ace-deuce of clubs.
Well, you've been in
We're going to
every
see this
hand.
one heads up here.
What are you talking about? I'm not in every hand.
Queen, deuce, jack. Well, Armando's going to gut shot to
It's
the
just a
king.
matter of slowing down as if you call
He's going to come out and bet.
or you raise.
That's what I'm saying. He's seen some of my
Looks like he's going to bet the pot.
I've had some big calls.
He bet 70 here. And Cy has got a pair. And he's got a raise here to 170. I mean, again, this is amazing. Good information for me on Sunday, Dave, how to play against some of these guys. 'Cause I don't think they're changing their gears up at all.
Well, I mean, side does have backdoor flush draw possibility.
Yeah. I guess if you put the guy on ace-king.
Hey, it's better than just calling.
Yeah.
I'll learn from you when I get home and watch.
Well, maybe, get the guy off the pocket 8s and up, 8s, 9s, 10s.
Well, Armando has tried to make a couple of moves. We saw it earlier. He made it with king 6, and another player kind of rebluffed at him.
You're definitely not going to lie. That's still a couple for me.
Both times he had the worst hand, but he's got to be wondering if these guys are just trying to run him over.
Right.
Watch the entire 4 hours.
Yeah, and then I'll just make sure if I'm in a big cash game with you. I'm going out. I'll be playing the 10,000.
And Armando's going to lay it down there, and the turn would have been a 10. So there you go.
That's hysterical. Baron Megatron says, look for the Barton Tuck 12-month calendar. Hey, buddy, it would be a 16-month calendar, okay? None of those 12-month things.
And we get an email here from Alap Patel. And he says, hey, you're sort of goofing on players for raising 3 to 4 times the big blind. What do you recommend? I think that's the first time he has emailed us, and thank you, because I think it's a legitimate question, because we were kind of goofing on that.
It is interesting. It's not really goofing. It's just in a cash game, you've got to realize that the blinds aren't really relevant to your raise. It's really your stack size, okay? Because let's say the blinds are only $5, okay? But I've got 30,000 behind me.
Right.
Certainly a raise to $15 is not sufficient, okay, with a big hand. Now, I want to be raising the same with almost all my hands so I don't really give away too much information. So you've got to keep in mind what your stack size is. That's really what the raise is.
We get a little raise here by seat 7 with Jack 10 offsuit. Seat 9, Amir is going to call with ace 9 suited. And seat 3 is in there with a big-time trap hand in the small blind with king 10. And Armando's in there with 8-10. So we get 3 10s accounted for here, Dave. Here we go to the flop. King, Jack 3. Now, Aaron's got the best hand, but how on earth does he know into a field of 3 out of position? He checks it from up front.
And you killed me on the river. I need one of those, buddy.
And Sai's going to come out and bet with middle pair here.
Well, you know, when they both check to him, he's in late position. Why not? He's got second pair.
He's going to bet kind of weak here. He bets 40 into a pot that was about 160. So, I mean, that screams either like a monster or some weakness.
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron makes the call. Turns a queen now, and both players pick up straight draws.
And you'll see that there. You can see it there. Aaron has a 77% chance of winning the pot. Sai has a 5% chance of winning a pot. And the additional 18% is a chop pot.
Sai makes an $80 bet here on the turn, and Aaron quickly calls. And again, we've got a pot that's close to $400, and the river is a 5, and Aaron's hand is good. Now, does Sai think he needs to bet here to win it? He's going to come out, and he's going to bet 155, it looks like. And this is an interesting hand, the way this played out. 145 into about a $450 pot, and you know what? Yeah. Aaron's going to call really not a big bet there on the river.
Yeah, well, the bet on the river was clearly a mistake by Sai, and I hate to really hash on these players, but if you look at a bet like that, if you're betting for value, Jack 10 is just not strong enough to bet for value there. You'd almost either check it down, or if you think the guy's got a weak king, you've almost got to bet 500 so you can get it off it. Clearly,
and again, that flop was pretty draw heavy, Dave. Now, unless you think that the guy backed into the possibility of queen 10 and he's going to beat you, that's the one hand that I would try to bet off of that with the way that hand played out with Jack 10 there. Maybe queen 10. If he missed spades, you're not going to get the call, right? And again, we had another email here from Michael Feynman saying, well, how much is it appropriate for late position or a button raise on a limped pot?
You know, it really, I was going to say, 3 or 4 times the blind might be appropriate. My thinking on it is really is what is a table playing like?
Right.
If you want 6 or 7 callers, okay, make it $20.
Yeah.
Make it $25. But if you want to limit the field and really price these players out, or price them in and really make them pay for their draws, you can make it, say, 45, 50, even 55 or 60. You know, it really depends on the game you're playing in. In a game like this, which is somewhat passive, depending on how much money I have in front of me, my pre-flop raise would probably be somewhere around, probably $50, maybe 45. More like 4.5 times the big blinds.
We're going to see a $45 bet here by seat number 1. It got checked to him, and he's going to throw out a bet. It's missed both players here. And again, for some reason, we've seen Sai a couple times just take one off, but not this time.
I mean, I've seen it so many times. I was actually playing in a 3-5 game last night And there was one guy who had just a ton of chips. He probably had $1,900. And the blinds are only 5-5. And this guy made it, I want to say $15 to go. So he made it 3 times the big blind with pocket aces and then could not get away from him when 6 players called. Man, I got to tell you, if I know you can't get away from aces and you've got a lot of money, hey, why wouldn't I call $15? I mean, No Limit Hold'em is all about implied odds, and if you're only going to charge me $15 to win, say, $1,500, hey, I'm going to go for it.
Oh, no worries. I figured you were popping. Let me see what I got.
It's kind of funny, when I first started playing No Limit Hold'em, I was playing more tournaments as well, and raising, say, 3 times the big blind was what I would usually do. And this was limped around 3 ways, and look at that flop for Johnny. The flop comes out Queen 10-10, folks. He has flopped a full house. He's got 10s over queens. Now the jack comes out. Cy will back into a straight. Richie Rich is now, oh my God, wow, Richie Rich has now got a flush, and he is drawing dead, folks. The flop was checked all around. The turn is the deuce of spades, and now Richie Rich has bet what looks like $25 into about a $35 pot. But Johnny's only going to call. You got to build a pot up, buddy. Now the pot is only $75. How much can you really bet? And Richie Rich bets, I think, $50. Wow. And Johnny makes it 100 to go on the river. Now, if Johnny had raised the turn there and built himself a little bit of a pot, you know, maybe he could bet $150 or $200 on the river. Sometimes the only way to win a big pot is to build it yourself.
Dave, man, I just walked back in and I can see the result of this hand. Would I have gone crazy on this hand, man?
Yeah, well, it was a limped around pot. I was just pointing out, everybody checked the flop.
Yeah.
Now, if Johnny had bet the flop, I think Richie Rich probably calls.
Yeah.
Then when he hits a spade, you know, he probably bets into him. There might even be a raise there. Yeah. And then suddenly you're building yourself a really big pot. But both players kind of played it slowly.
Yeah.
The pot was never big enough to really get any money in there.
Again, we often talk about, and sometimes I'll even criticize some of the big players, because I think that, even though I'm a huge fan of Mo's game, I think he tends to have a little bit, or he has a little bit of a tendency to slow play a little bit too much when he picks up what is probably the nuts on the turn.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't necessarily build himself a pot. I mean, I know sometimes you say, well, I want to let the guy catch up. Well, why not bet some money, and then if he catches up, you'll just get paid out that much more on the river.
A lot of players, if they have a draw, they're going to call you anyway.
Right.
So build that pot up.
Yeah.
Now, I do think it's important to obviously slow play once in a while. It's got to be part of your game.
Pocket queens here for Aaron. He's going to bring this one in for a raise. He's going to bring it to 75. Well, that's a little bit bigger.
Now, the thing is, though, with Aaron here, he's making it $75 to go, and that's a fine bet here. But all the bets have to be $75.
Yeah.
You can't just make it when you have queens.
Now, Leo here has got pocket 10s. And let's see what he's going to do. Looks like he's kind of short here, Dave. You know, maybe he might move here on this hand. You never know.
We saw him earlier. He's probably a tournament player. We saw him move all in with ace-king here before.
He only has about 200 here, Dave.
Well, I think this is move in or fold situation.
Regardless of tournament.
Smooth call me on the flop, I think.
Well, you know, actually, maybe he's got about 300 in front of him.
And he's going to move all in. And certainly Aaron's going to call this after Satish folds.
Yeah.
And we're going to see probably about a $700 pot.
And again, you know, we talk about this on the show all the time. Why be $300 deep in this game? I mean, you're going to sit there and wait for a hand and then move all in with 5-10 blinds?
Yeah, and the problem with a hand like 10s here is obviously there's no fold equity there because you're not raising enough.
And the only thing that you're probably going to be, you know, you're going to be good against are 8s or 9s. Every other thing is going to be a coin flip, or you're a huge dog, like in this case.
In all likelihood, you're probably either way behind. If you get called, you're probably way behind, or it's a coin flip.
Yeah. And he's way behind here.
Yeah, this is definitely. I mean, look, he even's got the spades and the diamonds covered.
82-18 here usually, right? About here with 5 cards.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Especially when you're sharing the same suits.
Yeah.
This is about as bad as it can get, folks.
Here we go to the flop.
Oh,
Yeah, it's no help. Leo's going to need a 10 here.
You guys both felt it, man. Two people feel it.
10 and a 10 only. Again, 4 clubs out there. Neither player has a club.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons why it's really good to have the same suits as your opponent, obviously.
Yeah.
When you have an overpair. Now, I was talking about how much to raise in a no-limit game, and I was saying that most of my beginning no-limit hold'em experience was from tournaments as well. And I was, accustomed to raising 2.5 to 3 times the big blinds, which is probably the right way to go in a no-limit tournament. But in a cash game, I first started out playing cash games, and I was raising it, say, 3 times the big blind or 2.5 times, and I just realized that quickly was not sufficient now. So I started raising it up to, say, maybe 4 or even 5 times the big blinds.
Right.
And in some games, I might raise it as much as 8 or 9 times the big
Because
blind.
you have to remember, the theory of 3 to 4 times the big blind in a tournament is because you're never deep enough in a tournament. Either you or your opponent are never deep enough to really be making calls with those hands that are really implied, but with implied odds. Usually, especially midway through the tournament, it's almost like a shoving match. You're battling over the antes and the blinds. Now, you got blinds that are 600, 1,200, and you're about 20,000. The other guy's 20,000. A raise to 2,000 is good, because that's enough.
Yeah.
You're not going to see multi-way action. But in a game like this, when everyone's $1,000, $1,500 deep, you raise to 30. It really just doesn't accomplish anything.
Well, you've got to realize that if I make it $30 to go,
right,
I'm inviting all those small pocket
yeah.
pairs in there to try to crack my big hands.
Or even like 2 or 3 gappers,
yeah,
suited connectors.
Exactly.
It's just.
If you're playing a 5-10 game with players like Alan, Mike, players like that, and you only make it 3 or 4 times the big blind, you're going to get 6 or 7 callers.
Yeah.
Try taking your aces 6 or 7 ways.
Sai is raised here out of the small blind with ace king, and he's going to take it down.
It's just so hard to know where you're at after that. And especially in deep stack no limit game, if I raise it up to $50 or $30 and I got 2,500 behind me and somebody makes a move on me on the flop, I have no idea where I'm at.
I like to think, again, it varies from game to game, but my number, Dave, usually is between 50 and 75. And that's with my good hands and, say, my suited connectors from out back that I raise to. Because it puts pressure on the early position limpers. It's not a cinchy raise. They're going to call 75. We're really building ourselves a big pot now.
Exactly.
And if you get 4 or 5-way action, you've got a $300 pot that, again, you might be able to bet on the flop and take a substantial size pot down if everybody misses.
Yeah, some people argue that, well, if you make it $70 to go pre-flop, you're only going to get called by hands that are beating you. Not so. We play this game day in and day out, and we see hands that we have dominated calling us like that.
Right.
And by putting money in the pot, we're building ourselves a big pot.
Again, I think it was kind of written in stone that 3 to 4 times raised in a tournament is the right way to play it. And, that does sound good, but remember, they get that number because of the battles for blinds and antes and the fact that you are not inherently deep stacked. Unless you're one of the chip leaders, are you ever 20 times the big blind in a tournament? 20, 25 times the big blind?
No, 100%.
You're not, right?
The funny thing is in no limit hold'em, in any kind of game of poker,
right?
Let's see what poker really is, a battle for the blinds and antes, isn't it? But it's not so in no limit hold'em.
Not no limit cash games.
Exactly.
In cash games. Yeah.
Essentially, if you read a book and you go, well, why does somebody raise? To take that ante, to take the blinds in a limit game, say. But in a cash game like this, you think about it, the blinds are 5 and 10. That's almost irrelevant.
Why did the table get so quiet? Oh, that was it. Okay.
Button here is moved over to seat 8.
I will say that there are times, actually, I will raise it even smaller. Let's say the game is short-handed and the game is somewhat passive.
Yeah.
If I'm in position, I will make it sometimes, even in this game, I'll make it only, say, $25 to go. Because that's enough.
But I was just looking, dude. Just looking.
King 5-8 here got checked around. The turn is a 6.
Well, Sai's now got a pair and he's open-ended.
Yeah, he does. 6-7.
Best hand is actually a mirror, though.
Well, he's going to come out and bet here with 8-4.
I got to come in a big game over it. I'm just curious what they'll love me.
And Sai is going to make the call.
$3,000. That'll be a good game.
And so is Leo here with a flush draw.
No.
Yeah, he's picked up that spade draw.
Yeah.
He needs a queen also would be good. It's hard for him to know that, but...
The river here is a 4, and that gives Sai the straight.
Yeah, Sai gets there.
It's going to get checked to Sai.
Imagine Sai's going to put a little bit of a bet out there.
Yeah.
Wonder if Amir is going to call this. It is a one-liner to a straight.
He's going to bet 70. Wow, and he is going to pay him off, Dave.
Well, there you go. He puts him on a bluff here.
I just don't know. I mean, you throw a bet out there on the turn, and a guy calls you, and then the river comes 4. Wouldn't you think that if he didn't have a 7, he would probably just check it down with a pair?
Yeah, that's what you imagine. You try to think of what the only hand that he probably could have that he'd call you with is, say, spades.
Busted spades, right?
Which is what Seed 8 had, which is what Leo had.
Yeah.
Maybe he puts him on busted spades. I mean, I guess when it comes down to it, and I hate to belabor this point, but it really is important, obviously, because pre-flop play in no-limit hold'em obviously is very important, and how much you bet and so forth. And adaptability is what's key.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to adapt to the game you're playing. And if the game is really passive, you can probably raise a little bit less. If the game is real aggressive, maybe you want to raise a little bit more.
Button moves over here to seat 1.
But pay attention to your opponents. Pay attention to what kind of hands they're calling,
right,
and how much everybody is raising pre-flop.
Aces.
I haven't even looked at my hand. I feel like I'm going to raise.
Over an hour into the show here, Dave.
Early position.
Richie Rich has got Queen 10 of clubs here in seat 5. And
I think he likes that hand.
Early position, he says he's going to limp.
The Varconi hand.
Seat 6 limps with King 8 suited, and boy, seat 7 just plays any 2. He's got Jack 3 offsuit over there. And the button here is going to raise it up to 30 with pocket 3s, so he's just trying to, kind of build a little bit of a pot.
It's not a terrible bet here. It's a little bit of a pot sweetener. He's obviously not going to take the pot down. Everybody's probably still going to call.
The funny thing about these types of raises, though, you can say, well, sometimes this might buy you 4 cards to try to hit your set. But when you raise to this amount against pretty good competition at this level, usually it's not going to necessarily get checked around to the raiser because you raised to 30 on the button.
No, definitely not.
Ace 7 6 here.
But sometimes it does buy you in the sense of, if everybody else misses, you can take the pot down.
Yeah, and he's going to take the 4th card here. Got checked around. Turn here is a 6, and Aaron has the best hand here with Ace 8, and he's going to come out and bet.
Yeah, he's in huge command here.
He bets 40.
Johnny has picked up a flush draw possibility.
Now, is this a time that you could raise here if you're Johnny? It got checked around the flop. You might really be able to pop it, and unless someone has a 6, it'd be really difficult for Aaron to call there with Ace 8, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't put Johnny on an ace, but you could easily put him on a 6.
Yeah.
Remember, everybody checked it. Why couldn't he have a 6?
He's just going to make the call, though.
Yep.
And Amir folds. So Johnny's going to need a heart and only a heart. And here we go to the river. And the river is a heart. And now there's just absolutely nothing that Aaron can beat. But he's going to come out and bet 50 now.
It's kind of a little bit of a blocker bet.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't want to check and have to face a $200 bet on the river. I mean, it's a $50 bet into, like, what, a $300 pot?
Johnny's got the nut flush here. The board is paired.
Yeah. Well, this is one of those times, if you raise, can you get called? You might want to raise this. I mean, I would.
I think you can get called by 6 pretty easily.
Yeah, you get called by 6. You might even get called by a big ace. You never know.
Yeah.
But
again, I mean, for Aaron, his 8 doesn't even play.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, somebody could have a smaller flush than you. And he says, it's clearly a raise situation.
Johnny says flush? Kind of an interesting tell.
Yeah, generally when somebody asks me, they go, hey, you going for the flush? I just go, okay, good. Thank you for telling me exactly what you have, buddy.
Right.
I appreciate that. Why don't you just turn your cards over next time?
300.
And he is going to raise it up to 300, and Aaron quickly gets away from the hand.
Now you can see the vulnerability of Aaron's hand there. If Johnny makes that play on the turn, he doesn't even need to hit the river.
There are a ton of cards that can come, though, Dave, on the river that Johnny could still make that play with a busted flush draw. He could still make that play in the river and still get Aaron off of his hand.
But would he have?
Right.
That's the question. Right. Would he make that move without the hand?
Post here by Sparky123 says, Bartertalk, can you explain fold equity?
No, I don't feel like it. I'm going to let somebody else on 2+2 explain it.
Oh, you're a great host.
Yeah. I'm going on strike.
Oh, first card's big. Second card.
Interesting there that Sai would call with Jack 3 offsuit. I mean, that's not even a hand that we were talking about before. It's not even a hand I complete with.
He's in there with King 3 offsuit. I mean, there's always one usually at the table that you just kind of...
And if there's any hand I hate, I mean, it's in any hold'em game, is the up and down hands. I'd rather be in there with 5-3, 6-3. King 3 offsuit, Jack 3 offsuit has almost no value.
No postal until after.
I mean, hey, yeah, you could flop quads, but you could do that with any 2 cards.
6-way action here, limped around $60 pot. Well, ace, 10, jack. Well, Richie Rich is open-ended here with the queen 9. You could catch a king or an 8 here.
And he also has the 9 of clubs in his hands.
Now, nobody has an ace, and this one's going to get checked around.
Well,
the turn is queen of clubs.
And look at that. The worthless king 3
King 3
there.
makes a straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cy, you're in there with king 3 to make a 1-card straight with 3 clubs on
Now,
board.
interesting, Armando and Richie Rich both have a gut shot to the straight flush draw, but obviously neither player can hit it.
Cy is going to bet $20 here. And Armando has basically the second nut flush draw here, right? The only thing that would beat you is the king.
Yeah.
Aaron makes the call, and Armando makes the call.
And that's going to drive Richie Rich out, obviously.
And here we go to the river. The river is an ace.
Now, can you bet?
I was going to say,
king 3 here?
can he even bet here with the king? I mean, there's 3 clubs on board.
Yeah, I mean, I bet a lot more than you do.
Well, I think you obviously think that, you know, the value of showing your hand, not showing your hand down has value. And he is going to take it down.
I want people to know that I'm capable of putting in a value bet with a somewhat marginal hand. I think it will help my bluffs out a little bit more.
Right.
Now, talking about fold equity there, generally speaking, when you raise with a semi-bluff, there's a lot of good things can happen. Okay? You can... Am I going wrong there? Oh, I'm going right. Okay. I thought you were wincing. I wasn't sure if you were
still
paying
wincing
or I was
about.
going the wrong
I'm
way.
still wincing about playing my hand, my $3,000
Oh, okay.
hand down the tubes.
Anyway, when you make a bet, there's equity that you can win the pot outright by him folding, and that's basically what fold equity is.
And you have to notice your opponent's stack size, because if they're in there and the pot is $800 and they have $300 left and you move all in, there's almost no fold equity.
Exactly.
Because now the pot is now $1,100 and they have $300 to call. It's just, you know, you don't want to semi-bluff a short stack that's committed because there is no fold equity.
Exactly. Unless obviously you've got a huge draw that's good enough to put your money in anyway.
Or just because you think you're a favorite with 2 cards to come.
And I'll just get one more point I'll say. It's one of the reasons why a lot of the big pros will say they won't call their money off, but they will move in.
Yeah.
And if they get called, so be it, because there's 2 ways to win the pot.
Right.
You can either A, win the pot with the best hand, or you can B, have your opponent fold.
Johnny brought this one in for a pre-flop raise with 8s, and Cy called with queen 10 offsuit. Cy picks up a draw here.
Picks up a draw.
He's open-ended.
And if Johnny hits a set, he's in bad shape. But Johnny's also got his best hand, plus he has a gut shot. If he hits size 10, then he's got the straight.
And he checks it. And it looks like Cy's going to come out and bet.
Why not? Overcards with a...
He's going to bet $200, Dave, into a pot that's like $100. It was a $50 raise pre-flop. He's really, really over-betting the pot here.
And what's interesting, this is a big difference between no limit and limit hold'em. One of the biggest aspects of no limit hold'em is how much to bet. And you saw before, Cy was betting $40 into a $200 pot. Now he's betting $200 into a $100 pot.
Sorry? You don't have to go to name Denny. No, but I do a good imitation of Joe Pesci.
Well, Johnny's really struggling with this one. Again, it kind of puts you in a weird spot if you check. Because, I mean, a guy aggressive behind you might always bet when you check to him.
Well, yeah, you also don't know. You have no idea where you're at, obviously. But it's also a weird bet. Why is he betting so much? Is he over-betting it to try to make it look like he doesn't have anything? Well, that's going to lure in Johnny. Johnny's going to make this call on the pot.
Wow, for
quickly
200. Unbelievable with pocket 8s. Well, again,
Johnny
Cy's got overcards and a straight.
He does not have the 8 of hearts in his hand, though.
Here we go to the turn. Turns is 7.
Well, that changes nothing.
No. Again, I was going to say, Johnny has overcards and a straight draw, but the 10. And look at this. Now Johnny moves all in on the turn. Wow, risky move. He check calls the flop, and now he moves in on the turn. Now, the issue for here is, has Johnny been playing long enough for Cy? I always want to get into a player's head, Dave. Do you think that Johnny thinks he has the best hand right now, or is he trying to get Cy off of a jack or a 9 here? And if he is, what does the 7 change? Don't you think he would have played an overpair a little bit differently on the flop by just check calling?
You're right. I always try to point out, because a lot of the players after the show or 3 days later, they come to me and they go, "Hey, Dave, you said something that was so stupid. That's not what I was thinking." And obviously, it's difficult for us. We're doing a live show. Difficult for us. I don't really know what Johnny's thinking. I mean, I can try to guess, but I don't know. By moving in here, I mean, maybe he thinks he can get a weak jack off. Maybe he can get somebody jack, like if a guy has jack 10, even queen jack, can you get that hand off?
I still don't
Can you get 10-9 out?
I still don't necessarily buy into, maybe you buy into it more, specifically saying putting somebody on a heart. Well, I put him on hearts, so I'm going to check call, and if a safe card comes on the turn, I'm going to move in. I just don't think that there are that many people that are that good that can do that.
I mean, maybe he's trying to represent trip sevens. I don't know exactly what he's thinking here, but he's trying to represent trip sevens. I mean, the only thing I'm trying to think of, what does Johnny think Sai has?
Yeah, Sai's going to fold.
And Sai throws it away.
I mean, I don't understand how you can represent trip sevens. I mean, the way that hand played out. The river was a jack, so Johnny's hand would have stood up there.
Yeah. Obviously, with that jacks and 8s with a 9 kicker.
I mean, if you're raising with ace-7, I mean, he hasn't been that out of line. He raised under the gun.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to put him on a 7 there, isn't it?
Yeah, you wonder if Sai's putting him on anything. Just not playing his own
And
hand.
then again, you look at it, even if you flopped a monster like, say, pocket jacks, or if you had an overpair, isn't that board draw heavy enough where if you were going to check and the guy bet 200, you would have check raised?
Yeah, once again, there is an argument to be said that maybe, you call one time, see a safe card, and then throw money out there. That board is pretty scary, though, obviously.
Yeah.
Since he had the 2-8s, it becomes a little less scary, but saying that. Now, back to that fold equity, because a lot of times you'll hear, actually, Bart and I talk about a hand where somebody will, it's one of the reasons I like to raise with draws and not just call with draws, because you have the added fold equity in there. If the guy calls me, I still might hit my draw, right? And hey, B, I've got the fold equity. The guy might just fold, and I might win it without even having to hit my draw.
Yep.
And that's what fold equity is. But like Bart said correctly there, you've got to be aware of the chip stacks.
Absolutely. Wow, Richie Rich is going to raise here out of the small blind. He does not chop, and he's got ace-4, and he makes him raise.
And if you're Johnny here, just lay it down, right?
Yeah, and he did.
Don't take it personal. Good play by Johnny. A lot of players take those blinds personal. They don't want to lose a lot of money.
Again, this is interesting, too, that usually the usual players in the 5-10 game, Dave, will not have this amount of yellow chips. It almost looks like a 3-5 game. Usually you'll change it up to purple. It's just something to notice.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Johnny's stack. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like 2,000 in yellows on the table.
Yeah. It's funny, Gore, when he used to play a lot, I used to talk to him about tells, and he goes, one of my tells, he goes, if I go to a $500 game or a $1,000 game, and I see somebody with a lot of yellows, I know they're uncomfortable with big chips. I know they're uncomfortable playing for high stakes because they don't usually have those big chips. They're comfortable playing with those yellow chips. Just a little bit of a tell. I'm not sure if it works or not, but that's what Gore said.
Well, sometimes, you even say that when you go to a 3-5 game, you like to only pick up like 2 stacks of yellow and bring some purple into the game, and there might not be any purple even in play at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
There's enough yellow on the table already. Just slows things down.
Yeah. They'll just go all in, like 9,000, you bet 500 on the flop. They'll just turn the heat up on you every single time. And they'll be
Looks like we're getting a new setup there.
Yep. We go through a lot of cards here at the bike.
Again, the setups are hand done, Dave, so they have to check them.
Yeah.
By hand.
A couple of quick things we'll go through really quick while we're waiting. LA Poker Scene, home of the $500,000 free roll, is actually running one-table satellites for the Bicycle Casino's March 11th Winning of the Green event. Wow, March 11th event is a $150,000 guaranteed no-limit hold'em tournament with a regular buy-in of $300. But now, you can win your seat on the LAPokerscene.com.
Yeah.
So go to liveatthebike.com and click on it. Tomorrow night's event, just so you know, starts at 4:15 p.m. and is Omaha High-Low, and it's a $300 buy-in tournament.
I wonder if we'll see Shirley around here. I know she was up in San Jose.
Yeah, I think she's still at the Bay 101. We'll check it out, though.
Well, a little raise here. It was limped around, and seat number 7 is going to raise it 30 more with Queen 10 offsuit. Oh. And we see that seat 2 completed with Jack 3 offsuit in the small blind. Again, we were kind of talking about that. And Gary's going to make the call.
How much money is Gary have? I think he has a couple of $100 chips there, doesn't he?
King, Queen, Jack. Oh. Middle pair here, open-ended. And side checks it. Check, check. Turns a 7.
Well, he's in great shape. I mean, I actually want to say Gary is in terrible shape here. Gary needs a 10 and only a 10 to win this pot because an ace would obviously give side a straight.
Side bet 65, and he's going to take it down there.
Guess maybe he was looking for the check raise there.
Yep.
Hope you guys appreciate the new graphics we have going on. Our technical staff worked on it hard.
Yep.
I love the percentages, too. I actually thought you and I did a pretty good job, on the run there, just kind of guessing what the percentages were. Usually we're within 4 or 5%, I think. But these are exact, and it's pretty great.
Ace, queen, and diamonds over here for seat 3.
I do have a soft spot for
Sparky, who posted that, he says, I'm never watching the show again. Maybe he didn't like our answer about fold equity. Aaron's going to bring it in for a raise here to 60. Ace, queen, and diamonds. Leo's got a little trouble hand here in the big blind. He is dominated with king, queen, and he is not going to play it. It's interesting. You see Richie Rich had left the table for a while. How tight the table had gotten.
Yeah, it really got past.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a lineup that there's not a lot of money in the table, but it's a lineup that I don't mind because it's the kind of table where I can sit down at, raise in position like Richie Rich was. And the way I look at it is you can almost win an easy $400 or $500 risk-free. Obviously, it's never risk-free, but to me, it's somewhat easy.
Anyone got a picture of Bart? I'm working on a Photoshop. PM me, Jay Bart. I'll send you a picture. Do whatever you want to it. I don't know if there's any pictures of me, say, on the internet that you can accessibly find. Not like you, Dave. Big star.
Yeah, big star. Ooh.
Actually, I am on MySpace.
Are you?
Yeah.
You got a MySpace?
Yeah. Oh, and that's going to come out in a second here. I'm sure.
I don't even know what MySpace. I mean, I'm so.
Yeah, there you go. You can go to MySpace and take a look at Reading Memorial High School in Reading, Mass, and you can find me that way. Ace Queen here
Is
again.
it your high school
Aaron.
picture?
No. I'm just saying it's an easy way to find me as opposed to, I don't know if you can do a search on your name. We got a $30 raise here.
How can I get one of those big posters? Bart Hanson posters.
Richie Rich is not in the hand here with pocket fives.
Really? Wow.
Aaron is going to re-raise here in the blind. The button raised Cy with pocket sixes, and Ace Queen is going to re-raise.
Yeah, like those fatheads. You know those fathead, the NFL fatheads? I want a Bart fathead.
Gary's not in the hand. David, we've quickly got about a $350 pot. A re-raise by Aaron with Ace Queen. Wow. Here we go. Ace Queen against pocket sixes. Oh, and pocket sixes hits top set.
But we talk about implied odds all the time. Okay, great. You might have if you hit your six, your opponent's got to have something too.
Aaron comes out and bets, and the button moves immediately all in. Gary is not in the hand.
Well, you know what? I don't mind the play by Cy here. I think he's looking at it going, well, the way Aaron's played it, he probably has queens, kings, or aces.
Well, now the question now is that, Aaron's even thinking, well, can I call here with overcards? If the guy just has something like pocket eights or pocket nines, it's only, it looks like it's 100, maybe 200 more, and the pot, Dave, I want to say is about 800. It's about a $900 pot, about 250 more.
Well, the question is, okay, obviously if you know what Cy has, you can easily fold. But is there a chance, even a slight chance, that Cy is making this play with, say, king, jack of diamonds? Because if he is, you're actually ahead. I'm just throwing some other hands at you.
Well, he is getting about 3 or 4 to 1 here.
And look at that. Richie actually would have flopped a set of fives. It would have been set over set, folks. Now, Cy's not that deep, so it wouldn't have changed.
And Aaron makes the call. He's going to need to catch running diamonds here, pretty much. Wow, the turn's a diamond. He needs a diamond here.
Any diamond will do it.
Bad beat this would be. No, river's a 9. And you're
great lay down. Great lay down.
And Richie Rich is excited that he laid it down, laid the fives down. I can't believe it wasn't in that hand of fives.
Yeah, I'm really surprised.
I mean, he just lipped around.
He might have looked at how much money these players had and just said, you know what? Oh, he didn't even limp in, did he?
No, that's what I'm confused about.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you, in a no-limit game, I'm limping in with fives at least, if I'm not raising. Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson, and you're watching No Limit Hold'em. The blinds are 5 and 10. This is an unrestricted buy-in game.
Yep.
The minimum buy-in is 500, no max. Probably got close to, I want to say close to $14,000, $15,000 on the table. It's an interesting picture of you, Bart. Is that you?
No.
Wow.
Look at it. It's different spelled last name.
I want to be a cowboy, huh? Man.
Bud moves over here, seat 8, and Richie Rich is real excited here about this.
Now, if you want to be on the show during this month, come early, folks, because it's crowded here at the bike. The action is here the whole month of March.
I had fives. I made sure you had aces. I'm sure.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Set over set. The worst.
Button is in seat 8.
Great.
And seat number 6 there, Johnny's going to raise it up with ace-8 of clubs.
It's going to make it 60 to go.
Great call, sir. See, I'm glad I wasn't sitting where you were sitting here because I would have called.
50 more here.
Being first to act, I don't know what you're going to do, so. I was telling him if I have like 5-6 suited, I'm in there.
And we haven't seen Armando play
I have to
many.
take credit
And is
to that
Armando
line.
going to re-raise here with pocket 7s? Wow. He's going to re-raise here, Dave, with pocket 7s. He raised, Johnny re-raised him with ace-8, and Armando comes over the top with 7s. Well, he's played it so tight.
I haven't heard from him all night.
Yeah.
He's tired of not playing a hand. He goes, that's it, I'm moving in.
Unbelievable.
Well, you know what? I mean,
He's still got some chips behind him. He's got about 300 or 400
you
behind
got to
him.
respect it here. I mean, Johnny's got to be thinking that there's no way. I have at best 3 outs here.
Oh, yeah.
I either need to hit my 8 or I need to hit an ace.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way, Armando, I should call this.
You think that you have overcards.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to figure Armando's got pocket jacks, pocket queens, pocket kings, or maybe he's got ace king. I mean, he hasn't played a hand all night.
I'm up 29, though. But it's going to change.
Yeah, he's going to get rid of it there, Dave.
Yeah, that's a good laydown.
Oh, absolutely. Armando, he took control there. Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions.
And we really do appreciate it. We like to keep the show as interactive as possible. If you like the show and you like us, we'd actually appreciate Bluff Magazine is still having a poll.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a cool poll. They ask you, like, what's your favorite internet site? What's your favorite casino? What's your favorite tournament place? And they ask you, what is your favorite poker broadcast and your favorite poker commentary? And if you want to go to liveatthebike.com, you can see a little, on the left-hand side, it says Vote for Bart and Dave. You can click on that, and then click on the link, and it'll take you to the poll. And if you like the show and you like us, we'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I don't know when the results of that poll are going to be published.
2009.
Richie Rich here has got Jack 7 suited, seat 5. We're about halfway through the show. Limp here. Seat 9 is going to limp with 8-9 offsuit. And we're going to see it limped around here. It looks like 5 ways, Dave. Actually, 6 ways. $60 pot. King, 9, king. Well, nobody has a king.
Okay, this is a perfect spot. Let's see if seat number 9 bets his 9. He's in the cutoff seat. Imagine if it gets checked to him. He's probably got to put some money in the pot.
He
And
does.
sure enough, he does.
Wouldn't you?
Oh, not even a question.
Yeah.
I'd also put money in if I had a king, though.
He bets 25 here.
I might put money in with nothing in
Right.
the cutoff seat in that kind of flop. But if you're putting money in with trips, you're putting money in with a 9, and you're putting money in with nothing. Really hard for your opponent to know what you have that time.
Ace-Jack is going to get rid of it here, Johnny. Email here from Sandy Peatley.
And
She says, I watched the night you had all the ladies playing and from the Lips Tour. Do you have anything in the works to have them back?
Yeah, I actually remember that last year. You weren't there. It was actually the Lips final. It was on a Sunday. And I did the show.
Yeah, we had it on the final
Yeah, I did the
table.
show probably half of it myself and then half of it with a lovely lady who ran the Lips Tour. And I
Yeah.
forgot her name. Darn. Lupe. Sweet, sweet lady. Really wonderful. And I'm not sure. We have a Lips tournament here. Who knows?
Well, actually, what I heard that we were going to do something here.
Yeah, our tournament, the Lips tournament, by the way, if you're interested, if you're a lady and you want to play on the Lips Tour, Sunday, March 12th at 4:15 p.m. It's a $25,000 guaranteed tournament, $200 buy-in, and it's a ladies no limit tournament, and that's March 12th, folks. If you're not a lady on March 12th, you can play against Bart on the LA poker scene. There's a bounty on his head.
Button moves over here to seat 2. Limp here. Is that a new player coming into seat 9 there? No? Or is that still Amir? Actually, Sai moved over there to seat 9, Dave. So there you go.
You ready to watch the 400 6-8 offsuit? You know this guy?
And limped around here.
Porto? J4?
Six-way action.
And I guess we said goodbye to Amir.
You set him up for that.
Jack 10-6, couple hearts. Aaron has a flush draw. I think he got a free ride in the small blind, or the big blind.
There's a huge board, by the way, for these games, so I imagine we're going to get somebody in there real quick.
Sai has made a bet here with middle pair. Leo actually has the best hand here in seat 8. Let's see if he makes the check call. I believe that Sai bet. Well, maybe it was Leo there.
I would give you props, man. You're sick of it.
Yeah, no, Sai did bet. And he's going to get called in 3 different spots. Button.
Yeah, how do you like 10-4 now?
And the turn here is a 9. Seat 2 is in there. Seat 3 is in there.
It's a real scary card.
Satish had a straight draw. He picks up a pair. And the river now is a 7, but no one has an 8. And it looks like Leo has the best hand here.
You are correct. You'll see the check mark there in just a second. There it is.
But Sai's going to bet again. He's going to bet 30.
Remember, it's a one-liner to a straight now. Anybody with an 8 would have a straight. Really tough to call if you're Leo.
It's terrible poker.
And Leo is going to make the call.
Yeah, he's going to call in the last position, but everybody else folds.
And his ace-10 is going to play.
Well, that's a heck of a call. I mean, I'm not sure if Sai bet enough into the pot. He bet about $40 into what, about a $200 pot?
Right. There it is, right there. Already up there.
There you go.
MySpace. You know, it's funny. I haven't looked at MySpace or had done my profile. It's been a while. It's been about a year, so there might be some stuff in there that.
No, he's messing with
I even mentioned the fact that I was on Days of Our Lives. Ooh. Not that many friends there. I never really got into this whole thing.
No, MySpace. You know, until like I want to say like 3 weeks ago, and you and our producer were talking about it. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, MySpace.
Really? What do you live in a coal?
I'm like an internet. I didn't even know that show they were touting on the Olympics. What is it? What's that show they were touting on the Olympics? Deal or No Deal?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even know that was a game show.
Seat 6 is going to raise here with Ace King. He's going to make it 75 to go.
I don't really watch TV, and when I go on the internet, it's usually like I check my email, I go to like liveatthebike.com, and I go to ESPN.com, and that's pretty much it.
Pocket Queens here is going to just make a call. It was a $75 raise here by Johnny. And he's going to smooth call in position, Dave. Perhaps see a flop, perhaps try to trap Johnny. And we're heads up here.
And these players are both pretty deep. Wow.
Top set of queens here for Aaron. Let's see how he's going to play it. Well, Johnny's going to check, and Aaron checks right behind him.
If you're Aaron, you gotta bet this flop. Gotta bet the flop. One to a 10 or a jack come off.
Turns a 3.
Man, it's
and now, but look at this. Now Johnny's going to bet 175, Dave.
I don't mind it. He's obviously checked to induce a bluff. But what if a jack or a 10 come off? Then where are you?
Well, you've killed your action. That's where you are, right?
Well, not only you killed your action,
you don't
you don't even know where you're at.
Right.
What if a jack or a 10 come out and Johnny moves in?
And now Aaron makes it 400 to go.
I mean, we've seen time and time again people just love slow play. I mean, I think if anybody in this table actually bets the flop,
right,
they've got nothing.
Well, the other thing too is, and I wonder you, and I'll throw this off of other people and you because I don't know the right answer, is that should you be more apt to trap in tournaments? Like, would this be a better move in a tournament? I'm pretty confident with my cash game play, Dave. But, I mean, I still think that betting your big hands in tournaments, if you're playing aggressively, is going to work out too, right? Especially when somebody's more apt to put a lot of chips in with just a draw. Because what we talk about fold equity and the fact that chips in a tournament have no cash value.
Yeah, well, no limit hold'em is no limit hold'em, and especially in a tournament also, I think the same way. Depending on the player you're playing against, if you play it fast, sometimes people will not give you credit for a big hand, and they'll make a move on you.
Yeah. He's made it 400 more here. And again,
I mean, think about it. If Aaron actually, let's say a tournament and they were both, now in this case, Aaron actually didn't have that much money.
Right.
But let's say Aaron had a ton of chips, and Johnny had a ton of chips, and this was a tournament.
Right.
Okay? And Aaron actually bet big on the flop. There's no way you put him on top set.
Yeah.
You might put him on, say, a draw. You might put him on ace-queen. I mean, there are some hands you might put him on, but you're not going to put him on a set of queens. And you might get somebody to think they can kind of, outplay you.
I don't know what Johnny is thinking here. I mean, does he think that this guy's just making a bluff at him on the turn? I mean, he's really taking a while with this one.
Well, he's confused him, Aaron checked the flop. What would he check the flop with?
Oh, my goodness. He moves all in here.
Well,
He's going to move in as a bluff. And look how much he had left. No fold equity. Johnny had $100 left.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Aaron had $100 left. He had $100. I don't know if we can pan over here. Let's take a look at those chips right there by Aaron's hand.
I think everyone is
Well, no, you're right.
It looked like he had $100
You're
left.
100% correct. It was $100, maybe 125 more, and you're 100% right there. When we talk about fold equity, by moving in with ace-king there, you have to think your hand is the best because you have 0, and I'm saying 0 fold equity.
And again, it's funny, if Aaron goes back and watches this, and he's never watched the show for the first time, he listens to us, he must think that we're like asses now. Because look how he's played it, and look how he's made all the money.
I think we're asses. But time and time again, we say something about how a hand should be played,
right?
And the players at the table prove us wrong. Hey, you know what? There's probably not just 1 or 2 ways to play a hand. Yeah. There's 15 ways to play.
I mean, if anybody, again, who's not familiar with the show, Dave and I are real big fans of usually fast-playing hands, because normally this situation is not going to happen. We've seen it 100 times more. Instead of this guy bluffing his chips off with ace-king and making nothing, we've seen a guy check a second time or check the turn, guy with queen bets, and that's it. It's over. Or how about a 10 or a jack comes? When I was out of the room earlier, you talked about this guy didn't build up with queens full of 10s. That's happened more often than this has happened. And we've been doing this for 1,500 hours.
Yeah, the way Johnny couldn't get away from his ace-king there, I'm going to take a wild guess that I think that would have happened no matter what. I mean, let's say Aaron bets the flop.
Yeah.
He might have gotten check raised or certainly called on the flop.
Right.
I'm not sure if Johnny gets rid of ace-king anyway.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, there are times to slow play. You don't want to be so predictable that you're always playing fast.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, as far as I'm concerned, as far as you're concerned, fast playing is usually better. Now, in this case, I will give Aaron, I will say Aaron was so short-stacked that he thought, you know what, I can take the chance. I've only got like $500.
I'm not a gambling man.
Ace-queen here for seat number 9. And Sai's going to bring it in for a raise.
I don't want to.
Going to make it 40 to go.
I'm up this much, sir.
Gary?
Look at Richie Rich there. Richie Rich really, kind of gambled it up the first half hour of the show, and he's really pulled back the
We haven't
reins.
seen a chip count in a while.
Oh, I have a call.
Richie Rich is going to make the call here. He's got 7-4 suited. Okay, ace-queen and king-jack.
He's got live cards.
Yep. We're going to see a $120 pot going through ace. Johnny is not in the hand. Well, ace 9-7 here. Sai's hit the ace.
And not really the flop you're looking for with 7-4, huh?
Now, from what I've seen from Sai, if Richie Rich, and Sai checks it, and Gary is going to bet. So say if Richie Rich had 9-7, I think he gets all of Sai's money with ace-queen, from what I've seen of him.
There's no way Sai's getting away from this, I don't think.
Again, oftentimes tournament players will just go in with top pair.
I got to tell you, if I'm Richie Rich at 7-4, now he threw it away. Looking at how much money Sai has, and Sai's got over $1,000, I might make.
Well, we had a bet by King Jack, and Sai check raised all in, and King Jack quickly folded.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was, if Sai actually bet a small amount there, I might take one off with 7-4, hoping that he has an ace. And if I catch my 7 or my 4, I might get all his money. Sometimes there are implied odds to go for those 2 pair of straights.
Email
or
here from
trips.
Neil Wills says, if Stu Unger was still with us, do you think he'd be a dominating force in the poker world today? Or has the game changed so drastically from the time when Stu, or has it changed too drastically from when Stu was a dominant force in poker?
Depends if he was on drugs or not. I mean, it depends if he was straight.
Well, the other thing, though, too, is that, obviously I've never played with Stu Unger, never met him. But from what I heard from the players that played with him, I don't know. I mean, he almost became a fish in a cash game, and no limit hold'em cash games weren't a big thing when he was kind of dominant at that time. I had heard from Doyle Brunson and Barry Greenstein, actually, when they were on the show, that Stu would basically just move all in with top pair. So you can tell, like, in a no-limit cash game, that's kind of a quick way to lose quickly. I mean, I don't know if he would adjust or what, but...
I mean, I have a lot of respect for Stu Unger,
right.
and when Stewie was somewhat straight, he was really one of the best.
Yeah.
They say he was one of the best gin players of all time, and obviously he translated well to poker, winning the World Series of Poker more than once.
Gary's moved all in here, and this is interesting for Sai, because Sai is only facing one overcard here. But Gary has a better hand. He's got the best of them in a big way right now.
Well, I mean, what happens if you just put him on a big clubs? Can you call if you're Sai? What if the guy has ace-queen of clubs
He raised it up a little bit pre-flop, and Gary side checked it, and Gary made the continuation bet all in here. Now, if you just put him on a couple of high cards, I mean, he bet about the pot. You know, Gary's getting about 2-1 on his money. It's about $140, and he's going to make the call, and he's in real bad shape.
Yeah, you know, maybe he thinks that he can. Maybe he just puts Gary on high cards.
Turns a king. Rivers a 10.
Yep. Gary's going to double up.
Yep. Fives are good.
You can't like the call when you get fives there, but obviously he was in great shape. Now back to Stu Younger, I was just going to say, you know, obviously in his prime he was a great player, but yeah, you're right. A lot of cash game players would actually kind of salivate when he would come into the games. Oftentimes it was money that he had borrowed. Sorry, I'm just looking at this 2+2 post. Oftentimes it was money that he would borrow from another poker player, and he would go in and try to run it up. Let's look at a trip down here. Richie Rich back up to 4,500. Satish with 1,700. Aaron with 1,600. Look at this. We have almost $12,000 on the table, folks.
I do have a nice picture.
And there's a difference there. Satish up 1,200. Aaron up 1,100. And Richie Rich has gotten back. Remember, he was down almost 1,000 at the beginning of the show.
Over 1,000, I think.
And now he's back to even. Cy is the big loser so far, down $1,100. Still a lot of show left, though.
I was going to say, I do have a nice picture up there in MySpace. It's my headshot. I can make myself look that nice, you know. Poker's a little bit, you know, not necessarily dressed all that nice when I come in to do the show, but I'm a good-looking guy, dude.
Okay. Hey. Sell it, man. Sell it. Shake what your mama gave you, boy.
Button moves over here to seat number 8.
I love this 2+2 post. If you're listening but not checking it out, you go to 2plus2.com, go to forums and go to World Poker Tour and other sites, and you can check out a real funny picture of me and Bart. I think I'm wearing, is that Native American garb?
Yeah, the YMCA guy.
Yeah, and you've got the, I guess you're the Navy guy?
Yep.
I mean, this is hysterical.
Well, Richie, we haven't seen him play in a while here, Dave. He's got pocket 9s. And he's going to just limp in here.
Good job, Jay Burt there. That's hysterical.
Interesting, he's changing gears here. You know, got 2 limpers. He's in late position. He just limps in here with 9s.
Hey, I'm thinking that would be a good T-shirt. That would be hysterical.
And actually, excuse me, Richie Rich raised it to 100. I thought that was a little bit peculiar. Him just limping in with 9s in that spot. He raised it to 100.
Well, he's in bad shape. Let's see what Gary does, though. Gary has folded the best hand to Richie Rich a couple of times tonight, but he's going to call.
He's going to call. Again, playing 10s out of position. He is again calling about 25% of his stack here out of position with 10s.
He actually said I should have gone all in.
And seat 2 is going to call Satish with Queen Jack suited.
And how do you like 9s now? Wow. And Aaron's not going to get involved. We're going to see this 3 ways here.
Well, hopefully the thing for Richie Rich is maybe a couple high scare cards come where you could bet these guys off the hand. $300 pot. King 7-5, you know what?
That might work.
If he follows through here, he really could take it down.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to bet. He scratches his mohawk.
And he's going to bet the pot, Dave.
And that's the problem with 10s out of position.
Yeah,
and
look at that. Gary gets away from it, and Satish is going to fold. That's a great flop against those 2 hands for that to come out for him.
The problem with calling 10s out of position, unless you really know the player you're playing against, you've got to wonder, okay, if it comes out all rags, and I said this already tonight, but you got to keep it in mind, 9s, 10s, 8s, even jacks. If it comes out all rags, how do you know you're not up against a big, big pocket pair?
Right.
And obviously, if overcards come, well, then you have no idea where you're at easily.
And they were talking about they both crashed their cars, so they were playing footsie on the table too, They were bonding. I don't know.
You know, Donna's been bugging us to figure out what kind of T-shirt we should make. This is it, I tell you. That's perfect. That's just absolutely hysterical.
I speed up and slow down.
I mean, it's somewhat disturbing, but
I know you have.
and we've seen this. And I see this post from Sushi Jerk talking about massively overplaying Ace King. Man, we talk about tournament players overplaying Ace King all the time, and sure enough, we've seen it twice tonight now, where people have lost, have doubled up other opponents.
Well, in tournament play, you live and die by Ace King. Ace King's not that big of a hand in a cash game.
Yeah, you've got to realize that.
6-way action here, limped around Jack 10-10, and Gary's got trip 10s from seat 1. He's in the small blind, pretty connected board here.
Yeah. Cy's got top pair.
And let's see if inside does not bet over there with Jack Deuce. Gets checked around. The turn's a 9. It's 2 spades. And now, I mean, if you're not, 9-10 fills up. So. And did you check it again? This is what we're talking about, not building any money in the pot.
Now, some people can argue, well, you want to let somebody get there. You want a 4 to come off, or you want a spade to come off, so somebody gets some sort of piece of it. But you've got to realize that the pot is so small, how much money are you going to make?
Well, now Johnny's going to take a shot at it, and again, we might be looked like, well, these guys slow played and won more money on it, but I don't buy it. He's going to, and look at, is he going to do it? I mean, he only has 300 too, Dave. I mean, you got to wonder. I mean, is he going to call and then just bet the river and get a fold? Well, he moves all in now. But he's probably not going to get a call here from Johnny.
Now, okay, now this is another question. If you're going to slow play it that much, why not mini raise there? If you're trying to build yourself a little pot, why not mini raise it there? Maybe you get spades to call you. Maybe you get a queen to call with a mini raise. But now that he's moved all in, I don't think Johnny can call.
Johnny's drawing dead. He thinks he has a straight draw here. He thinks he's open-ended, but Gary's got him dead.
Well, he is open-ended.
Yeah. Right. He is open-ended. Thinks he has a straight draw. I think he's drawing live.
Right, exactly.
To a straight draw. But he is not. And I think he's trying to do some math out. I mean, the pawn is about 400, 200 to call, even with one card to come. I mean, you look at it, there's 2 spades out there. It's a paired board.
Yeah.
You could be drawing dead. You are drawing dead. You're not getting odds to call with open-ended.
I love the fact that Gary raised, but you want to make it easy for your opponent to call and hit his
Maybe
draw.
He would have called a mini raise with an open-ended straight draw.
He definitely would have. Think about it. He's thinking about it with 300.
Yeah. No, he's not going to make the call here, Dave.
And Gary takes down.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to realize that obviously it's just not in the cards to win a big pot.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the 2 times we pointed it out, it's obviously worked out for the player and made us look stupid, but we've watched a lot, and I'm talking about a lot of No Limit Hold'em, folks.
C.W. Siggy said, when is it okay to push all-in pre-flop with ace-king in a cash game? Ever? Well, I'll tell you, actually, on Friday, I was in the type of game where I was actually gambling it up. I lost about $2,000, Dave, but I pushed in twice with ace-king suited, and I was about $1,000 and $1,500 deep, and I actually ended up losing a couple of those hands. And the reason was because I had a couple of gamblers on the table. I made a raise. They re-raised me, and I moved all in. And the reason for that is because I thought that they could have just as easily raised with a weak raise or a pocket pair lower. So I figured I've got good equity here because half the time I'm way ahead, half the time it's a coin flip.
Right.
And I ended up losing to pocket 10s and pocket 3s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in those cases, when you think that guy might make a move with a weak ace or something as ludicrous as king-queen, then there's value in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually made a similar play probably a couple of weeks ago, and I'll get to it in a second.
Jack, deuce, 3 here. Gary's got top pair over there in seat 1.
I mean, when it comes down to it, you got to be careful, obviously. If you're moving in with ace-king against rational players, you're only going to get called by hand, and you're clearly probably behind.
But again, this was against irrational players.
Exactly.
So,
I think this should go bet, fold, 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 fold. And it does. Now, a couple of weeks ago, actually, I'll just throw this hand at you. I was actually playing 10-20 game. I was down a little bit. I had bought 2,000 into the game, and I was down to about 1250. And sure enough, I want to say Mike or Jay raised in second position to $100. Got called in 4 spots. Okay, so the pot is already $540. I have $1,200. I looked down at ace-king suited in the big blind.
Yeah.
I just moved all in.
Right.
I said, you know what? If I get called by a pocket pair, so be it.
Right.
If I don't, if I run into kings or aces, okay. Sure enough, nobody called me, and I took down $500. Hey,
I mean, the only thing that you're really, really screwed on is aces. I mean, ace-king, you don't want to see it, but you're not more than a 2.5 to 1 dog,
I mean,
right?
kings.
Kings, that's what I meant. The only thing you're really screwed is aces.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, and I know, think about it, Jay makes it 100, right? 4 players call him. I know none of those players have aces. I know none of those players have kings. So the only player I'm worried about really is Jay. And obviously anybody can get aces at any time, but Jay is just as likely to raise with ace-4 as he will with aces. So, actually Jay will raise with 7-4. So I thought that was an okay spot to put it in. But you got to realize that in No Limit Hold'em, in a cash game especially, since the blinds are smaller, you can pick your spots. In a tournament, sometimes you're forced to gamble. You're forced to make moves because of escalating blinds. This game, the blinds are going to be 5-10 all night long, and tomorrow, and the next day. So you can kind of, as long as you have enough money behind, you can pick your spots. That's at least my thinking there. Larry's got an open-ended straight draw here. Queen of hearts on the turn. And Aaron is going to bet it, though, with his queen. Queen of hearts on the turn there. And he's going to bet it. Seat 1 with King Jack is going to call. He's now open-ended. And he's going to give it a shot. And the river is a jack, and that is no good. Gary makes a pair. But you imagine this is probably going to go check, and it does. It's one of those things where Gary probably did not bet the river because he didn't feel like, well, he sort of got there. He made a jack, so he doesn't need to. Obviously, if he makes an ace or a 9, he makes a straight, he bets it. Or if he makes nothing, he might bluff into it. But oftentimes we see players, if they have a little piece of it, kind of a marginal hand, they'll just take the showdown.
I got word that Ken and James is going to come into the game here for the last 45 minutes.
Oh, fabulous. Well, I hope tonight is better for him than it usually is. For some reason or other, obviously Ken and James is a great poker player. For some reason or another, though, Live at the Bike and him have just not mixed.
No, I mean, in terms of money.
But it gives him good karma.
Yeah.
Because he'll lose a couple $1,000s on our show, and then he'll go come in second place to Legends and win $600,000. So,
yeah.
I'm certainly not feeling bad for him.
I need a big hand, dude.
Again, like you said, when you're up against gamblers, with you can really make a push with an ace-king.
Yeah, I mean, there are times to do it, obviously. You got to really know the players you're playing against.
Wow, look at this. 9-5. Cy is in there with, and he flopped 2 pair, and he did not bet the flop, and now Richie's going to come out and bet. He's going to bet 20 here. He has a gut shot wheel draw here, Dave. He could catch a deuce.
And if he slow plays it and just calls him here, no, he's gonna raise it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if he slow plays him and just calls him here and Richie Rich catches a deuce, is he going to get all Cy's money?
Looks like Cy's having some Korean delicacy over there.
Yeah. Well, actually,
Galbi, bimbap, or bulgogi, or something like that.
One of those.
It's funny, my buddy Moon, who's actually Korean, was talking about how good the food here was at the bike, but he said, why do they serve it in that box? I forget what the name of the box is.
Is it like a bindi box?
Yeah, but it's Japanese. They serve the Korean food in a Japanese box.
Oh, come on.
Bento box, yeah.
Just for half an hour, so Ken and James can jump in the game. Small blind, big blind,
Ken and James.
But
Who are they making leave?
I don't know.
Anybody want to step up just for half an hour? 9-4. Can you give me another seat? I'll sit down somewhere else. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, I think we can probably move. We can probably move somebody into a different game if available.
Woo! I got a big hand.
No matter however you want to do it. Okay. However you want to do it. Thank you.
Let me know about the big game on Wednesday. I want to go play.
Oh, that's cool. Richie said he wants to come play in the big game on Wednesday.
Hey, come on down.
I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, and obviously last night was a really weird night. I mean, the 25-50 game actually cut short. With about 45 minutes left in the show, and that almost never happens. And I imagine it will not happen this month with winning the green here.
Looks like it's limped around
Yeah,
here.
10-4-3, a couple of clubs. Not a bad flop at all for Satish. Satish has got 7s, only 1 overcard. Plus he has the 7 of clubs in his hand.
30.
So if he were to catch a set, obviously it would not complete anybody's flush.
You got a $30 bet coming out of seat number 2, it looks like here.
Nice bet by Satish there. I really like that bet. Wow, look at that, though. Cy is actually in there with Queen 10. We did not have that up there, sorry.
Yeah, so he's got top pair, and he checked it from up front, David. Let's see how he's going to play it.
Cy's cagey.
Well, maybe it wasn't Queen 10 because he just folded. I can't
No,
imagine.
it actually was Queen 10. I saw it.
Maybe he misread his hand then.
Wow. Well, you know what? Satish hasn't played many hands. Maybe Satish has maybe Cy's got some respect for Satish's game.
Oh, okay.
Figures Queen 10 can't be good.
I guess so. The way that Cy has played so far, it's a little bit surprising to see him lay that hand down.
Right. I mean, the funny thing is that you talk about dominating poker players. You're talking about Stewie Younger. I mean, the one thing I just don't think. I mean, some players can say they can play inebriated, either drunk or stoned or whatever.
On drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, to me, there are just so many good players out there now. I think you've got to have,
Oh yeah.
You've got to be all there.
Well, I mean, was Stewie playing under the influence?
Was that a real question?
Yeah, I just thought it kind of destroyed his life on the side, but he was like pissing away money under the influence as well.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know, but I'm assuming most addicts can't control. It's not like they have control of, like, they can play. Oh, well, I'm going to play today, so I'm not going to drink.
Gary made a raise here to 50 with pocket queens, and Sai is the only one left in here. He's got 8-9 offsuit, and he is not going to play. And Gary is going to take it down.
I mean, rumor has it. I mean, as long as Stewie had the money or the friends to borrow the money from, he had drugs. You know. And
well, it's kind of, unfortunately, it's a sad cycle of life, obviously.
Definitely. It's a disease, It's a disease that, I've had friends that were alcoholics, and it's not something that I look at in the sense of, God, what an evil person. No, it's a disease that these people have, and, and unfortunately, you wish they could conquer it. But unfortunately for Stewie, I guess, conquered him, and he died at a very young age.
Button moves over here to seat 6. King Jack of clubs over there to seat 1. That's Gary. Ace King here for seat 6 on the button. See if Gary brings this one for a little raise. So he's just going to limp from up front.
Well, it's King Jack suited. Yeah, I imagine that. And Johnny's probably going to raise this up. But wow, Aaron is raising it up with Jack Deuce.
Yeah, he's changing it up. He's going to raise it up to 40 with Jack Deuce suited.
Well, I don't mind the play here. I think he's trying to buy himself the button. I don't like raising with Jack Deuce there.
And Johnny here, he's just going to call. Again, we've seen people push with Ace King. Maybe he figures, you know what? I misplayed Ace King so badly this time, I'm just going to call and see a flop.
Yeah.
Now, Satish had limped in between with Ace 7 of clubs. Larry is going to call new player with Queen 10 off. And Sai has got 94 suited. He's going to make the call.
San Francisco, folks, 49er.
6-way action here.
$240 pot.
Yeah, 6 times 40.
Now, this is what we're talking about. You raise it to $40, you get 5 callers. If that's what you want, hey, all the power to you.
Well, Ace 6-8 here, and Satish and Johnny both have aces, and Sai has a flush draw. And look at this. It gets checked over to Aaron, and you know what? If you're going to raise with garbage, sometimes we say if an ace comes out, why not fire out into it?
Yeah, I guess so.
But again, you got the other way of looking at it is you got 6 people in the hand, and you just want to give up.
Well, it's just one of those things. If I raise in late position with a hand like Jack Deuce, which I almost never do, I'm more apt to raise with 4 Deuce than Jack Deuce. But if I'm going to raise with that hand and somebody calls me and I don't buy the button, I'm probably not going to. I'm just going to give up on it.
Well, the action's over here to Johnny. Let's see how he's going to play it. He's in position. It was a 70. It was kind of a weak bet here, and he's just going to move it in here.
Moving it in.
Now, I don't really necessarily have a problem with that. He's basically almost raising the pot. Well, he's raising he's making it about 600 into about a $300 pot.
Well, the pot, when this guy bet $60 into it and you call the 60, the pot becomes $360, and now he's raising it probably an additional $500.
Yeah, is there anything wrong with that here?
No, well, what's he going to raise it? 300 and leave himself with 150?
Right.
No, sometimes there comes a point where there's no point in leaving yourself with 100.
And Satish should easily be able to get away from this. Well, now I guess for Sai, it's a math problem. Let's call it about a $900 pot. He's got people behind him, but it's about $600 for him to call. He's getting about 1.5 to 1. He's got people behind him. I just don't think there's any way that you can make this call with a dry flush draw. You're not getting the odds.
He's got a backdoor straight draw, I guess you could say. Catch some sort of runner here with the 9 and the 4, I guess you could say.
Oh, my goodness. He's going to gamble it up. He's going to make the call here, Dave.
Well, that should definitely get Satish out. Obviously, Satish has got, not only does Satish have a bad ace, but he has no redraw whatsoever.
It doesn't look like, I'm looking over at some of the dead cards. It doesn't look like any of the diamonds are dead here. I mean, this is a pure gamble.
Yeah, this pot is about 1,600, folks.
Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 4. Sai's got more outs. 9-4 a diamond, and it does not come.
And 4 the hearts.
Johnny is going to sit there and win about a $1,600, $1,700 pot there.
With Ace King.
And again, it's funny. Let me throw this out at you, too. You're in the early stages of a tournament, and you want to play it like, I want to accumulate chips. I want to gamble. There might be a juicy side game, or I don't want to be in this $200 tournament and stick around for 10 hours and get nothing out of it. I want to gamble it up. Would you ever call with a flush draw when you're not necessarily getting the correct odds? Or you might be getting a little bit under the correct odds?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't call with it. I'd move in with it.
Right. Well, that's obviously a bit different.
I want the fold equity.
Right. I mean, again, I'm trying to relate that to possibly a guy playing it like a tournament, trying to have the need to gain chips for some reason.
Right, no, I understand where you're going there. I mean, I just think fold equity is huge. You really want to move in with your chips. Now, obviously, in that case, Johnny took all the play out of it because he moved in.
But it's an interesting question because, in a tournament, you're actually not necessarily supposed to call all the time when getting the right price, because if you lose, you're out or all your bullets are gone. But if you want to play it like you want to gain chips, then you can make that call, right?
Of course, there's a lot of things. I mean, when you're getting close to in the money, or let's say you're at the final table and you want to move up the ladder.
Right.
There are a lot of times where you might pick a better spot, so to speak.
Richie Rich here, I'm pretty impressed with his play. He hasn't really come in with a lot, and he's mixing it up here. He's going to make it 60 total with King Queen off.
Let me win one. I can take it down.
And I think Kenna James is actually going to come in to seat 4 right next to him, Dave.
Well, there you go. We haven't seen much. Armando's had a real quiet night, so.
You can actually check out Kenna James' website. He's got a new website, kennajames.com.
How'd he come up with that?
I don't know.
Crazy.
Beware of the bullets, though, when you go there. The sound, the gunshot sounds. Now, Armando is going to make a call here. He's got pocket tens. He's out of position.
Why not just move all in, Armando? Come on.
Well, I think Armando's got a stack of purples behind him.
Does he? Okay.
Well, look at this. He flops top set here.
Yeah, he's in good shape. Now, this is interesting. If he slow plays it and Richie Rich catches a jack, Richie Rich will have the absolute nuts.
Yeah, Richie Rich has got overcards and a gut shot to the jack.
Backdoor diamond draw.
The pot is about $120, and it looks like it got checked to Richie Rich. He's going to bet 120. It looks like Armando's grabbing both hands, and he pushes the rest of his chips in. He's going to move all in for 620 here, Dave. And I think that Richie Rich should easily be able to get away from this. That's actually a fair amount of money with this pot.
It's a good bet by Richie Rich on the flop. He's got overcards. He's got a gut shot. He bets it to see if he can take it down right now.
Yeah.
And obviously he gets the information he was looking to get.
And you know the other thing, too, about Richie Rich is, he's been driving the table. When you have a tight player show strength like that, okay, I can just easily get away from it. I mean, my question to Richie Rich there is that if you had an overpair, now not necessarily aces. Again, as I talked about, when you get into more advanced no-limit games, you might have faced somebody who limped and then just called your raise with an overpair. Let's say Richie Rich had jacks there. Do you think he might get away from it with a check raise by Armando there?
I don't know enough of his play yet. I mean, he might. I mean, if he's paying attention to the way Armando's playing, I think he could. It's kind of funny. Richie Rich hasn't done much since the first 45 minutes of the show. He's really changed gears.
Well, now he's picked up pocket jacks.
Let's try this again.
110.
We got a $110 raise here. He's going to bring it in for 110, Dave.
1 to go.
I don't know if he's going to get a call. Armando's in there with Jack 10 offsuit. He's going to fold. And he's going to take it down there. Shows the jacks. Takes it down. Got about, maybe 45 minutes left in the show here. There's a good look at our new player there in seat 7. Larry.
Oh, and Chuck, okay, now this is interesting. It's the first time I actually sit down with a player. He is a very experienced, no-limit Hold'em player. And he was actually in the satellite that I was in, where I won my World Series of Poker main event seat. He was actually playing to my left. Very solid player, in a tournament, that is. I've never seen him play a cash game, but it'll be really interesting to see him here tonight.
I had a King of Hearts and Queen of Diamonds. I wish I had King and Queen of Diamonds.
60.
We got a $60 raise here by seat number 9 with deuce 4 offsuit. Position raise, he's on the button here, Dave. Satisha's got pocket 9s, and he's pretty much played it as tight as anyone has. He's been waiting around.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
And he is just going to make the call.
And Satisha's actually probably one of our big winners tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
It just goes to prove, we say it all the time, you don't have to play a lot of hands in a no-limit cash game to be a winner. Tournaments are very different than that.
How much?
50.
You can't play Satisha's style and be successful in tournaments. I just don't think you can. Satisha might make the money, but he's certainly not going to finish in the top 3 in tournaments, and that's where all the money's at.
Well, Richie Rich is in kind of with a trap hand here, King 10. And we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-way action here.
And how much is the raise?
It was to 60. It's a $540 pot here. Jack 10, 5.
Wow.
And it looks like Richie Rich has the best hand.
But how does he know that? Look at that flop. Look at those hands, folks.
Ronnie
He's
trying
trying
to come out and bet. He's going to bet $50, Dave. Now, oftentimes I will see this play, kind of like, you know, you're making a bet with either top pair, weak kicker, or second pair, and against a player that's not really that good, he might get you away from it and just fold. But look at this. Sai's going to call, possibly setting up a play here because he has absolutely nothing. And Satish overcalls. And look at Aaron. He's in there with bottom pair. It was only a $50 pot bet.
Well, you know what it is. The pot's $500. You bet $50 into it. If you want to take it down, come on, bet $200.
It's now a $700 pot. The turn's a deuce. Sai picks up a pair. Aaron's got a flush draw now with his pair.
Yeah. And this is interesting. Whoever bets, say, $250 into this one is going to take
and
it.
this is what I think that Sai was setting up. He's going to move all in. He had to make that play by calling the flop, right?
Well, he wants to see how everybody's playing it.
Yeah. He's going to move in for $250, which makes the pot $950. So Satish quickly folds, and Aaron's going to make the call.
That's funny. By Aaron calling, he'll probably get Richie Rich to fold, and he has the best hand
He's got the best hand here with a pair of fives.
And he's in great shape because Sai needs a deuce or a 4, and that's it.
Can't call with a rock in there.
And that's what he said, like, I can't call when there's already a call in there.
I can't overcall, and this is incredible stuff. He's actually made the call, and he's going to drive out the best hand here.
Well, Sai, the funny thing is Sai has actually won the pot for Aaron here, I think.
Oftentimes we see that by players moving in, and now Aaron is way ahead. Sai needs a deuce or a 4, and it's a jack and a pair of fives. Let's see if Richie Rich gets pissed off on this one. Is going to win.
Damn it.
Yeah, and there he is. Damn it.
Yeah.
What a call.
I knew it.
And we're looking at a huge pot.
That's about an $1,100 pot right there, possibly even more than that.
Yeah, one of the bigger pots of the night, folks. We are playing a no-limit game with 5-10 blinds, but it's kind of a smaller game.
And again, the funny thing about the way that hand ran was it was a $50 bet by Richie Rich into about a $550 pot. Sai now calls, everyone calls. Now it gets checked over to Sai. That's $250. Now the pot's $900. You have a pair and a flush draw. You're getting a little under 4-1. If you don't necessarily put the guy on a set, and you think he might only have one pair, can you call with one pair? Thinking that either 2 pair you miuld be good, or hitting your club here might be good.
Well, if you think of the range of hands this guy might have, I think you have to call.
We both know you were full of crap.
Yeah, see, they both knew he was full of crap.
Yeah.
And Richie Rich says there, he goes, if this guy doesn't call, I have to call.
Right.
But you know what, though? I like Richie Rich's game, and I think he's probably going to go home and watch this tonight. But I got to tell him, the only reason he didn't win that pot is because himself, and he has himself to blame there by putting in basically a pussy $50 bet on the flop, and he knows that.
Yeah.
If he makes a real bet, the pot is $500. If he bets $150 or $200 or $2 1/4, he takes it down right there and then. Or maybe Sai calls, but who cares if Sai calls?
Richie Rich looks like he's going to make a raise here. Early position, he's got Jack 8 of hearts. He might be scheming a little bit.
It's just, it's on the internet. Never make it.
I mean, no limit hold'em. A lot of this game is about how much you bet.
Satish has got a suited connector here. He's got 5-6 of clubs. He's going to make the call. And again, sometimes you have to think about who's raising. Richie Rich might not be in there with necessarily a big hand.
Well, although I don't mind playing Richie Rich right now because he might be steaming.
No way.
Well, 10-10-6 here. Satish has the best hand. So he's going to play it.
No way you shove it.
It's not a bad flop for Satish. If Richie Rich did not start with a pair, he probably has the best
Goes
go out.
check, check, and now Satish picks up clubs.
Yeah.
Richie Rich has got a straight draw now.
And he's got a gut shot.
Satish is going to come out and bet 60.
But Richie Rich he's going to need a non-club jack, a non-clubbed 8, or a non-club 9 to win this hand. And how can he possibly call this here?
Well, he's going to make the call, it looks like. Yep.
Wow, is he setting up a play?
I don't know. Here we go to the river. The river's a club, and Satish makes a flush.
Well, if Richie Rich tries to represent clubs here, and might you check this to induce a bluff, or do you bet? I mean, is there a time to induce a bluff here?
Satish is going to come out and bet 160, and Richie Rich is not going to get involved. Yeah, I was going to say, if Richie Rich got checked to there, he might bet. Interesting post here by Perculia on 2+2. Says, hey, Bart and Dave, is the game tonight this good most of the time, or is it just because the tournament's in town? And if it's because the tournament is in town, how much longer is hunting season open? Well, Winning of the Green's going on until March 27th.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the game is always pretty good here in California. At Bicycle Casino, the game is always good.
Yep.
If you don't believe me, go check out the archives. But this month, not only will it be good at 1 or 2 tables, but we'll probably have 4, 5, 6, maybe even 15 tables going. If you're new to the show, by the way, you can see every single show we've ever had, and I'm talking we've done over a year now. You can go to the archives, go to liveatthebike.com, top left-hand corner, click on the on-demand archive banner, and for just $14.95, you can get every single show we've ever done. And I'm talking about commentary
over
from
a
Barry
year's
Greenstein,
worth. Yep.
Doyle Brunson, Kathy Liebert, you name it, they've been on the show, folks.
5-way action here, 6-3-3. It looks like we got 6 deuce over there for seat number 3. That's Aaron. He got a ride in the small blind. And he's going to come out and bet here. Couple hearts on board here, Dave. This is one of the first times we've seen a guy come out and bet. And look at Armando. He is going to make the call with top pair, not believing him. So I love the bet by Aaron, and Armando calls, and we're heads up. Well, the turn is a third heart. See how and it looks like Aaron has checked it. And Armando now is going to bet. And excuse me, I'm sorry. Aaron did not have trip threes. He has a 6 as well. I misread there. So he's going to get away from it.
Once again, our show is live, unedited, unscripted. Once in a while, we do make a mistake. I got a question here from Boston Christopher, and he plays in our game once in a while. He's also a fan of the show. Good guy. He actually played in the game last night. He says, hey, guys, I wish I was there, but I'm staying in tonight. I was checking out the LA Poker Scene 5-cent World Series of Poker seat tournament thing, where you can, for 5 cents, you can win a $15,000 package for the World Series of Poker. And he also noticed this $30 winning on the green tournament. And it says, but the prize is a $1 promo buck. What's going on with that? And I just want to let you know that that $30 promo is actually a one-table satellite for our March 11th tournament, Saturday, March 11th, which is a $150,000 guaranteed tournament.
300 with multi-rebuys, right?
Yeah, it's a $300 tournament, and that promo buck is actually just, it gives you a promo buck, but by winning that, you will have a seat reserved in the March 11th Winning of the Green tournament, which starts at 4:15 p.m., and it'll be reserved at the Bicycle Casino. Pretty cool stuff. Hope that answers your question.
Limped around here. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-way action. Look at those cards go up. That's a nice job by Ronnie. Ace 8 for Rainbow. Chuck's got a gut shot. Doesn't look like anybody has an ace here. Richie Rich has got the best hand here. Now, might he come out and bet here when the ace pairs on the turn?
Well, I think it's pretty clear you're the best hand. It was flopped. It was checked around here. You've got an 8. The odds of anybody having an ace are pretty slim.
Yeah, and he's going to come out and bet.
Pretty straightforward.
Looks like we got Ken and James coming to the table here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'm coming. You want to play with me or what?
There he is.
Sporting the Port Walter Payton jersey.
Yep. Again, you know, the funny thing about this is no one, they're saying, I'm not exactly sure who he is. He's going to be on the WPT coming up. I think it's March 15th. Legends is going to be on, I was checking out their website. Yeah. So he's going to be like, kind of like a household name pretty soon in a couple weeks here.
If he's not a household name already.
Well, I mean, you know, some of these players didn't exactly know who he was, but I think they'll definitely know here in a couple weeks. Yeah. And you can buy in. This is an unrestricted buy-in game.
And it looks like he's going to buy in for a lot. And the nice thing for him is he's got position on the big stack at the table.
Yeah. Yep. Interesting, C.W. Siggy talks about you might call hands without getting the correct odds to get implied tilt odds. The Phil Gordon concept.
Hey, you know what? That's a great point by C.W. Siggy. Sometimes you might do that in the sense of, let's say it's a small pot.
Right.
You're deep, your opponent's deep, but you know if you give them a bad beat, they might tilt off all their money. Hey, why not? Poker's a lot about psychology. You got to get in their head, man.
I'm done. I fold.
I think Ken has given him some shit about being called Richie Rich. And Richie Rich is going to make it 40 more with Ace 10, and Ken says he's going to call dark. We cannot see his cards.
And I'll tell you why I'm calling dark.
Now,
because most people don't realize what I haven't looked. How can they look?
Now, this is the question. Now, the thing I wanted to know about was Richie Rich, actually, and Ken has got pocket fives. He's going the speed limit. Wait a second. Ken never goes the speed limit.
And look at this. Larry's going to move over the top all in with ace-queen suited. He figures, you know what? I might have the best hand now. I got a blind dead money in between. And he's going to move all in for 300 with ace-queen. And the funny thing here is Kenna might call. We know Kenna. He just might call. You know what? He might gamble it up here. He's got pocket fives. There's some dead money in here. Maybe he hasn't looked at it yet.
Darn, that one was...
I I call.
Ah, look at that, right off the bat. And he's actually in great shape because we can see that 2 of the aces are dead.
Oh, he's probably about a 65-35.
Oh, look at that. An ace peels off. Turns a 4.
I need a 5.
I need 10.
Oh,
10
man.
Once again, I had the best hand.
And Larry doubles up. And look at him. Once again, I had the best hand.
I can't win it live at the bike. I swear to God. Life's dependent on it. Seriously.
Unbelievable.
I know. He has been running bad on this show. It's unbelievable.
I mean, if anybody remembers, he was on the show about, I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And there was a memorable hand, actually, the hand after our webcast ended, where he had aces, another player had kings, another player had queens, and another player had ace-king.
Yeah.
Okay? And Kenna lost through the kings. And you can think of how hard it is for kings to win in that kind of setup. The kings had to catch the one outer, one king left in the deck, and that was it. And sure enough, Alan caught it.
You played this before here?
Huh? I played this many times. Everybody will tell you I'm the biggest loser I've ever played since Adam.
I'm going to double you up tonight.
He's not lying. He's not lying at all.
I doubled you up at the table.
The one thing I'm wondering is sometimes if I sit at a table and I'm kind of the table captain like Richie Rich has been, and somebody like Kenna comes in the game, sometimes that quiets you down a little bit because he's suddenly the new table captain. I wonder how Richie Rich will react.
Ace-king here is limped in here from seat 9. That's Cy. You wonder if Cy's trying to pull the limp re-raise here with ace-king because he's raised with a lot less. Yep, and Richie Rich is going to make the raise to 110 with Jack-8 of diamonds. I think that's all the size money's going in here with ace-king. We're going to see a huge over bet or whatever you want to call overplay with ace-king here again.
And luckily for Cy, nobody's got much of anything, so he's probably going to just take it down when he moves in.
Let's see. Yeah, there it is, Steve.
Sure the limp re-raise the ace-king.
You knew that was coming. Yeah.
And look at this, 2 hands, 2 all-ins. Tell me this is in tournament poker.
Yeah.
This is like late in the tournament poker.
I wouldn't bet on it.
And Richie Rich obviously cannot call this with Jack High.
I just think it's like he made the call, Dave, with Jack-8. Unbelievable. He's going to give a bunch of action. It's going to be $1,000 pot here, folks.
Wow.
Oh, and an 8 flop. This is unbelievable. Oh, the turn's a king.
He's got outs.
Wow. Oh, there's a jack. He's got 2 pair. Oh, wow.
Oh, folks, here.
Look at that. Kenna won't knuckle. He won't do the knuckle punch with him.
No. Didn't do it. No knuckle punch for him. And for some reason, it shows Cy as the question mark. That's only because Jack-8 wasn't in there and Cy goes home. Oh, man. I tell you, there's a lot to be said for internet poker, playing at home. You can play in your boxers. You don't have to brush your hair. You don't have to take a shower. You can go to LA Poker Scene and win your seat on the winning of the green for $30. You can win your World Series poker seat. But, hey, here at the bike, people are giving money away.
Can I get in here?
Look at that.
That is unbelievable.
Seat open. Come crack us.
Oh, my goodness.
Can I go play?
Oh, no.
Are you going to play Recon?
No.
Now, what would you buy in for a game like this? Would you want to cover Richie Rich? Would you want to cover Kenna?
At this point now, especially if you get another action player, you might actually want to be kind of short and just wait.
And move in like Cy did.
Yeah. Given action right there with the Jack-8 of diamonds.
Yeah, obviously he knew his hand was not the best hand.
Right.
But who needs that?
What would Mr. James do with this hand?
Unbelievable.
I think like $25.
How about 45?
Too much.
So 35? Let's go for mine. In the middle. 35.
Richie Rich asked Kenna, how much are you going to raise it? Richie's going to make it 35 to go here with King 10.
I knew I had
And Kenna's not call.
Well, you know, I mean, Kenna's like, wait a second, I give the guy action and I lose. You give the guy action and you win.
Right.
Got an email here from Mike Noguchi. He says it's not bulgogi, it's bulgogi, okay, Bart?
He actually said Dave.
Yeah, I know. They always, whenever you say something wrong, they always incorrectly think it's me.
Right.
Go ahead and bet.
Let me see what I got.
Make it big. Bet a lot.
Will you call it?
Maybe.
9-7-4 here on the flop.
Chicago. I'm from Chicago, dude.
And we're going to check here. Richie brought this one in. He's going to make a continuation bet. He's probably going to take it down right here, Dave.
Thank you, sir. I love this. I'll show one. Yeah.
I like what Baron Banker tells us. Just Bart and Tuck, the next time anyone writes in asking if the game is always this good, just ask if they ever play live poker.
Yeah.
The answer will undoubtedly be no, as these games aren't that different from what you'll find at these stakes in casinos around the country. I mean, he's 100% right. I mean, the games are almost always good, folks.
Yeah.
Just tonight, we've got more of them. And this whole month, we'll have them.
So I guess we're getting word that another action player is coming in seat 9.
Really? Who? I'll tell you, seat number 8, Chuck. I played with him a couple times. He's a pretty solid player. I'm really curious to see how he plays in cash games.
Yep.
I got it and I broke it out of the plastic. One of those cards.
Ryan Rush coming into the game.
I'm just moved from LA. I was playing every day down at
Looks like we got Pocket Jacks here for seat 7 on the button. He's played it pretty tight.
Oh yeah, CW Siggy thought, he got really excited. He thought Jenna Jameson was coming to the game, not Kenna Jameson. Not Kenna James.
Not Kenna James.
I've been playing, I don't,
I'm unfamiliar with this fellow.
No, it looks like maybe a soccer player.
Look at this. The button limps in with jacks after 6 limpers, Dave. That's amazing. Seat 7 has jacks. He's limped in on the button.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to play it.
King, deuce, deuce here.
And, the funny thing is nobody has a king, but seat 3, Aaron's got the deuce.
Yeah, he's got ace, deuce. It gets checked to Kenna, and Kenna's going to come out and bet with 10-7 offsuit. Oh, boy, and Larry's going to get involved with this. He makes the call. Again, we don't have any of the cards up here. We got an ace deuce over there for Aaron.
That's
He's
the
got
important one.
Yeah, let's see what he's going to do here. He just makes the call. Let's see.
Because I don't know my cell phone number. I just got a new cell phone.
He just calls, Dave. He makes the call.
Yeah, now if you're Kenna, you bet on a complete bluff into that board, and 2 people call you. How do you like your hands?
How about you can
Question is for Larry.
And when I get in
Turns a 9.
San Diego, I'll charge my phone and call you.
And Aaron
I'm
checks.
moving tonight or tomorrow.
And it gets checked around. And the river is a king. Oh, that's a horrible card for Aaron.
Oh, terrible.
Absolute nightmare card.
Yeah?
And it gets checked over to Larry, and Larry's going to bet 100.
For real?
Wow. He's going to bet 100. I mean,
does
Aaron has slow played himself into the ground here.
I mean, does he think that he's value betting?
And look at this. Aaron folds the hand. What a way to see that hand with ace deuce. My goodness.
Wow. I'm wondering, does Larry put somebody on the deuce? Is he betting as a bluff? Or is he value betting because he thinks nobody else, he might get called by an ace?
Well, there's a couple ways to think about that, Dave. I mean, you can think about it as maybe somebody was sandbagging a deuce. Maybe I can bet them off of the deuce. Or maybe I have the best hand.
And I can get called by an ace.
Or by a 9, in this case.
Right. Exactly.
You watch it? Did you see the laydown I made on that show?
That's terrible.
You saw it?
Buttons moved over here to seat 8. We got about a half an hour left in the show.
And what tournament?
Wow.
Legends.
Did you see that laydown I made at Monte Carlo? Seriously,
Well, not sure if it was a value bet or a bluff, but in this case it was a bluff and it worked.
Looks like we get a new player in seat 1 there, I believe.
I think that's, I don't know if it's shown.
it's on this week.
Oh, excuse me. No, he just took his hat off.
That's Gary. Haven't heard much from him all night. He's played it real conservatively. He always buys into the minimum, though, which really puts him at a disadvantage in a game like this, I think.
Got a $50 raise here by Armando. Ace-Jack suited.
I have a question for you, Bart. If you're playing in this game, let's say this game specifically, and you buy in for, say, $1,300 or $1,400, right? Which might be your buy-in, right? Maybe $1,500?
Usually what I buy in for.
Okay,
around, yeah.
$1,500, somewhere in there. How low will you go until you rebuy?
I don't usually like to go under, say, 800.
Okay.
Usually.
So if you take a beat or something and you're down to 600 or 500,
you'll
rebuy
or get out.
Okay.
From Japan?
Well, Gary called here with King 10, and Jack 9 is in seat 3. He's in the hand as well.
Oh, that's way
So Armando has hit top pair. And look at seat 3 come in and lead with Jack 9. The flop is ace, queen, 5.
And it's got no pair, no draw.
He's going to bet 75 here. And he actually, excuse me, he's got queen 9.
Oh, there you go. He's got
So
second
he's
pair.
got second pair.
Am I up now? I'm up 300.
And Armando is going to make a smooth call. And here we go to the turn.
How can I get offended?
Oh, the turn's a queen. We turn this into the bad beat table.
Right, but I want to throw something at Armando here. You got ace-jack
Wow,
here.
look at his handshake, David, with his right hand there.
Yeah, you throw something at Armando here. You can't beat any real. I mean, you can't beat ace-king. You can't beat any queen. Certainly can't beat ace queen.
He's kind of made a little bit of a weak bet here. He's bet 100 into about a $280 pot, and he's going to get called, and now the pot's going to be about 500.
Armando needs an ace, and only an ace. He's got 2 outs, folks, and you see the odds.
290, that's my high.
Versus 6. Now how much can you value bet here? And look at his hand shake. He is going to come out and bet 150 here into about a $500 pot.
Now, you told me that you used to be a shaker as well. Shaking is generally a sign of strength, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually a kind of, for some reason, it's a release of tension. Or, it's not like, it's not necessarily you're nervous that you're bluffing, but it's more of a thing where it's usually a tell of a strong hand.
Right. Now, why wouldn't it's interesting. Why wouldn't somebody shake when they're bluffing?
I don't really know the physics behind it, Dave. Do you?
No, I don't. I'm asking.
I mean, oh my goodness! And this guy is going to. Did he raise or did he make the call? I don't know if he raised there. He raised, Dave.
I think he raised the minimum. Yeah, he raised the minimum.
He raised the minimum and he got called.
And he just gets called there.
Wow. And that pot's going to be over $1,000.
And Aaron did not feel like his hand was strong enough to re-raise, and I can't blame him there. Obviously he's only got trip queens, can't beat a queen with a better kicker, and he can't beat a full house.
Yeah.
Obviously it's really easy for us in here to say re-raise, and for you at home, we're privy to the cards. Try playing in the game, though. A lot of people have said that, like Garland, players that have watched us a lot, and then come in the game and they go, man, it's so much easier at home.
Right.
I'm going to raise this hand dark if everybody
Well, here we go with another chip count. So Ken is going to be table captain here.
And look at this. Suddenly we've got $20,000 on the table, folks.
Do I have to show them my hand before I look
Now, if you're Gary, I mean, to me, you got to go to another game or you got to rebuy.
Yeah, this is just, it's kind of.
And look at Aaron, up the most. He's up 1,900 now.
Satish is up 1,000. And how many hands has he played tonight, Dave?
Maybe 4 hands all night. Well, we say that's the big difference between playing in no limit hold'em.
We know that Ken is actually down a little bit. He's down about 300 or 400.
And that's actually not. It says Chuck is down $1,100. It's actually Leo that was down $1,100. Chuck really hasn't played a hand yet.
Limped around here. And this seems like it's a very volatile game. Some of these big stacks get involved here.
Well, it's funny. You've got players like Chuck and Satish who aren't going to play many hands, but they're going to play them pretty strong.
Yeah.
Then you've got players like Richie Rich and Kenna who are mixing it up.
Yeah. Limped around here. Looks like 7 ways. King 5-4. Well, it looks like Kenna's got top pair with King 6.
And he claps.
Kenna actually has King 6 of hearts. He's going to bet 100. So he has top pair.
I think he wanted to bet the pot, but he only had a $100 chip, so he threw that in there.
I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think anyone's calling him.
No, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, he's going to take it down there with the top pair.
Take it down, Mr. Brown.
Shows the king.
Probably about 1350.
Again, here we are live at the bike. We're doing 5-10 no limit hold'em, $500 minimum buy-in, unrestricted max buy-in. The blinds for this game are 5-10. We're using yellow chips, which are $5 chips, purple chips, which are $25 chips, and white chips, which are $100 chips. We stream live cash games every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 Pacific time. If you miss some of this show, you can pick it up on a 24-hour looping rerun starting an hour after the show, all the way up until 5 Pacific time the next day. And you can catch the entire week on a rerun Sunday afternoon at noon Pacific time, running to 3 a.m. Monday morning.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of slept through last night's show, so I think I'm going to watch it on Sunday.
Well, I'm going to be here playing the Winning in the Green tournament on Sunday. The
Oh,
Extra
right.
Sports $300
go.
plus 40 no limit hold'em.
And what is the extra sports? What is that significance?
Well, they have like a tournament series, a little deal here at the bike where they do a tournament here, every couple months, Evelyn, something like that. And actually, I think they said $2,500 worth of the prize pool is being withheld for a seat that they have, like a championship extra sports seat in Vegas in December. In order to qualify for that, you have to I think you have to win one of these events.
Okay, you can't buy your way in, you mean?
No.
Oh, that's cool. So it's like a championships tournament.
10-7-4 here.
But see, this is a big flop for Ryan. Now, this is the kind of hand that Ryan, he's not naked flush draw. He also has a gut shot. So any 6 would give him a straight. Any club would give him a flush. And if you're in there with a club draw, that's the kind of club draw I like.
Now, look at this. Richie comes out and bets, and Ryan is going to raise with this draw.
Love the play by Ryan here. I love the play.
He's going to make it 300.
Now, we talk about fold equity. Obviously, a lot of fold equity here.
Yeah.
If he gets called, he can still catch his hand.
Power of the semi-bluff, as
Well,
we
you
say.
can see Richie Rich is a small favorite over him. But if Ryan gets called, okay, well, I can still win the hand. If I don't get called, hey, all the power to me. Well played by Ryan.
I think Kenna is talking some shit there to Corporation Mike. Yeah, look at that. Mike's in the 10 game, his big bald head over there.
Ooh, let me see the game there.
Yeah.
We got Corporation Mike, we got Allen.
Yeah.
We got, who else in that game?
Oh, look at that.
Ooh,
That's
Francisco.
Francisco, George Greek Poker God. A couple other unfamiliar faces. Is that Track Win over there?
I think Track Win was in it. I can't tell the rest of them. I know George and Hob, actually. Hob, Midnight, and George Greek Poker God. They both played in the tournament today.
Yeah.
So obviously George is out already. I haven't seen Hob, though, so maybe he's still in the
I
tournament.
went over there like around 7, and I'm getting word that he's out too.
Midnight
But actually,
is
I
done.
played with Hob and George this afternoon when we were talking about it. I was saying, I'd like to play in some of these tournaments, and we all kind of agreed that, our expected value in these tournaments are going to be much, much lower than what our hourly rate can be in knowing the cash games. But I want to practice. I think you do, and I think they do too. So it's, it's a thing where.
Well, it's funny. I just wrote, if you check out liveatthebike.com, you can check out my new blog. It's Under the Gun.
Yeah.
It's Under the Gun with Tuckman on the left-hand side. And I talk about in my my latest blog how my tournament play has been very rusty, and it was pointed out to me at the Invitational, and I'm going to need to play a lot of tournaments to get my game up to par before the World Series.
Now, do you feel, though, that playing more tournaments is going to take away from some of your side game play? Or can you balance it out?
No, I think it definitely will take away a little bit from my side game play,
Yeah.
but it's worth it because I really do want to play a couple tournaments of the World Series,
Yeah.
some of those bigger events. And
Again, we got early word that we're going to have another booth, right, at the World Series. So everyone's going to be able to come and say hi to us at the video game. I had a great time. I know you weren't really... You were playing, and I was doing the booth, but I had a fabulous time. We can get some hot girls in their promotional models like we did last time. We went partying with the bombshell models that night. That was fun.
it's always cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't.
Of course,
you and I
you'll be
can't-
going home to the Bellagio and partying with your wife. Of course.
Exactly. But you and I, you can't expect to play only cash games, then jump into a tournament and do great. You gotta practice.
Yeah. I've been trying to practice online a little bit too, on Sundays.
Yeah.
I'm going to come down and play on Sunday. Queen 9 Jack here with a couple of diamonds.
Misses both players. Aaron is way ahead, obviously, with ace high.
Richie Rich is going to bet 20 here. Yeah, he's going to take it down.
Take it down. Shows the bluff.
It's all right. I don't need the $40 pot.
I do. I need to take his kid out. Check the
Got about 20 minutes left in the show here, Dave. I wonder how many ads I'm going to be requested on MySpace. I need more friends. Add me.
How sad.
Looks like I have.
Bart's begging for friends.
People were saying it looks like he's got strippers as his friends. Yeah, pretty much.
I was going to say,
tallest, goofy guy in the room.
Bart has 17 friends. Is that a lot of friends?
Not on MySpace. Like I said, I'm not really that active. Maybe I'll get into it more.
Okay. How many friends is a lot on MySpace?
Tens of thousands.
Oh, I don't want that many friends.
No, I mean, like music groups network in that manner. You know what I mean?
That's
yeah,
too many
crazy.
friends, though.
Yeah.
I'd have no time to see any of them. I mean, what would I do at a Super Bowl party? How do I invite them all?
We had a little raise here, I believe, by Kenna. He made it 25, Dave.
Yeah, and he's got a terrible hand. He's got ace seven
off.
Yeah, ace of spades, 7 of diamonds. There it is. And look at that flop. 4-4 deuce. Well, if he bets, he'll probably take it down.
No, he's not going to bet at it. No one took. It gets checked around here.
Oh, there's a 3. He's got a draw now. Him and Aaron have the same wheel draw.
And he's going to bet 85 here. He throws a $100 chip in there. That might be enough.
Well, nobody's got anything unless they're going to just make a move on him. It's just kind of an odd bet, though. What would Kenna flop? What would he check the flop with? Yeah, bet now.
Remember, he raised it $25 pre-flop under the gun.
The only problem is, what can Aaron beat, though? He can only beat, say, king, queen, king, jack.
Queen Jack over there. King Jack.
Well, that's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
Saying, I think he got queen, jack, or king, queen, or something.
He's a good reader.
Well, raise it and take it, Aaron.
He called 200 with
And he says, I know I have the best hand, I'm going to fold it, and he does.
What the hell is that? That drives me nuts. I knew I have the best hand, but I'm not going to call. What? Why? What, you don't like money? How about, I know I have the best hand, but there's a little sliver of me that's really scared, and I think I might be beat.
I was waiting. I kept trying to get somebody to say the term tournament donk. Now, look at this. Rich is still in the hand here with King 8. Kenneth's trying to help him with his chips there.
It looks like Percula there on 2+2.
Right.
His location is Phoenix, but after watching tonight's game, he says, hey, Bart and Dave, I'm going to see you next week.
This game tonight is by far the best for donkey hunting I've seen at this level. To have a table with 6 or 7 tournament donks with deep stacks is not common.
Wow, there you go.
Oh, the other thing, too, is I actually read a little bit about that internet scandal that we touched briefly last night. I mean, basically, it was a thing where a successful internet tournament player, he actually has a website. You can check it out, zjustin.com. And has basically, he's had his accounts at Party suspended and his money confiscated. He kind of put up like an arrogant, cocky BS reply post that didn't really win him over more fans when the thing went down. I think it made more enemies than...
Really?
Yeah.
Did he deny it?
He didn't deny it, but he said, you know what, I was breaking the rules, but I really didn't do anything wrong. Everybody else is breaking the rules because everyone has had more than one account in order to get rake back. And people were just like, hey, buddy, you were cheating. There's a big difference. You know what I mean?
Put like 2s and 3s out there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, actually. Queen, 9, 6, couple hearts.
Aaron's got top pair with a queen. Big kicker there for him.
And Satish is going to come out and bet with middle pair, and Aaron is going to call.
I like the bet here by Satish. He's got king 9. He's taking a shot at it.
I don't know if I was Aaron if I would call Satish.
That's the whole point. I was trying to think, Satish's image here. Why not take a shot at it?
But if Satish is going to bet again, well, it's just a little bit of a bet, though, so Aaron's going to call here again. But I got to tell you, if he fired twice, I'd be even more apt to fold.
What can you beat?
And the river is a jack. And it's just going to get checked down, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now, if Satish really fired big on the turn, he probably would have taken it down, you imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you really can tell the good players who play it really tight, but they play it real aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I'm Satish, and that's not a super draw heavy board. I bet and Aaron calls. You know, a lot of times that's a play that somebody will make with a weak queen. If you know the guy has a weak queen, you have to bet him off the hand. You got to think about how much can I bet with my image to bet him off of a weak queen here on the turn, right?
Right.
It's not going to be $40.
Yeah, just to play devil's advocate on you, though.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that he can go, well, I know that my image has been tight, but is the guy next to me paying attention?
Right.
Does he even know that I haven't played a hand all night?
There's 3 clubs out there.
I mean, you and I wouldn't have called Satish. But you wonder, is Aaron paying attention? I'm not sure. You know, does Aaron get away from a weak queen there?
We've got ace-queen there for seat number 4, Armando. And he's just going to limp here in the cutoff, Dave. A lot of times, you know, you want to drive the people out there.
Or charge him a value raise.
Wow, 3 aces for Gary and Armando.
And this is what we talk about. With a hand like ace-5,
well, he's going to come out and lead, so let's see.
That's fine. But with a hand like ace-5, we talk about it all the time. When you see a flop like this, you go, wow, what a great flop for me. Well, you're either going to win a small pot or lose a big one.
Armando is going to smooth call, and I said oftentimes, this board is not dry heavy. Do I think Armando called me with a 3? Will you shut down with ace-5 now? I think I might shut down.
Oh, I'm looking to play a real small pot with ace-5.
But he's going to continue to bet. He bets 50, and Armando moves all in. And I think if there's ever a time where you can easily get rid of 3 of a kind here, this is it.
I actually think...
And look at this, though. Gary was so short, Dave. That's what it was. Gary was so short.
He only had $300.
The river's a 6, and there you go.
The queen is going to play, and Armando's going to take this down.
It's interesting how often we will bring up a situation like we did earlier in the show, someone who's been watching the show the entire night tonight, and then it'll happen later on, you know?
Well, people say, you look at a flop like that with ace-5, and it's so easy for you to go, oh, wow, I got trip aces. How can I slow play this and make a lot of money? Well, think about it. The flop is ace-ace-3. Who are you going to make a lot of money from?
Well,
what hand?
I mean, somebody might say you check it once so that somebody with king-queen hits a pair on the turn. But again, are they really going to pay you off a lot? I mean, are you kidding me?
You might induce a bluff against a guy like Mike or a guy like, say, you know, a guy like Richie Rich, but you've got to realize that you're not going to win a huge, huge pot. you know, even from a king there.
Right.
You're basically, the only time you're going to be involved in a big pot when you have ace-5 and the flop is ace-3 is if you're behind.
Oh, yeah. March 15th that comes out.
Pocket queens for Satish.
Yeah, Ken is talking about...
Jack 10 off the king.
Ken is talking about Legends. March 15th, he said.
Well, something, but still.
And did Satish limp in? Satish limped in. He's looking for the limp re-raise, and it doesn't look like he's going to get it.
Yeah, he did limp in.
Chuck is going to, and Ryan's just going to check it, and we're going to see this 6 ways now, $60 pot, folks.
We need to see seat 9's cards.
Oh, and what a terrible flop for queens there, huh?
Ace 10-8.
Ace 10-8 with 2 spades. Man, Richie Rich is open-ended with Jack 9. Satish actually still has the best hand, though. Nobody has an ace, folks.
And it gets checked over to Kenna, and he's going to bet with Queen 6 of spades. He has a spade draw.
You know, I'm surprised Richie Rich didn't throw a little money in there.
Satish quickly folds. He gets away from it. Richie's going to make the call.
I want to give Satish a lot of credit in that one.
Kenna, again, is in there with Queen 6 of spades, and there's the spade. For heads up, Jack 9 against Queen 6. And look at this. Richie Rich is going to try to represent spades. And Kenna calls him immediately. He's got the second nut flush draw.
Yeah, it's kind of a little blocker bet, you think, just trying to see if he can hit his straight out. If Richie Rich hits a non-spade
Straight card.
queen or 7, yeah, exactly.
Well, there's only one queen left in the deck here. Oh, the river is another spade. It pairs the board. Richie Rich checks. And Kenna here is going to bet. 400. And Richie calls. And Kenna's got the queen. There it is.
And Richie Rich really thought Kenna was bluffing.
Yeah.
That gambler image got some paid off.
Yeah.
And Kenna, that might have been one of the biggest pots Ken has ever won on this show. Congratulations, Kenna James. Hey, you might have a lot of friends now on MySpace.
Yeah. What moves
Might
over
go
there?
from
Seat
17
8?
to like 1,700 overnight.
Probably at least 20. Maybe I'll become more active now. Who knows?
Once again, we're live at the bike, folks. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hanson.
Whereas the funny thing is that we were actually working on a MySpace Live at the Bike page. I don't exactly know where that is in terms of... It was an idea that was thrown out there. We got a little raise here by seat 3 with ace queen.
Yep.
50. And Satish is going to call with a suited connector, and Ryan's in there with... No, excuse me, seat 5 is in there with 8-3 offsuit. Wow. And he hits top pair. Aaron's going to bet 75, and what is... And, you know, maybe seat 5 steaming a little bit here, Dave.
I'd imagine he is. 8-3 offsuit, nice hand for blackjack, not a great hand for hold'em.
And he's going to raise it with top pair.
Well, he's got the best hand.
Again, it is amazing how often people scheme in this game. Absolutely amazing.
And look at Aaron says nice steal, and he throws it away.
Let's see if he shows the 8.
Don't show.
Shows the 8. Oh, he shows the 3. Actually, he did show the 8-3, Dave.
Yeah. If you want to kind of show off that gambler image, you don't want to show the hands every time, do you? Now, back a couple hands ago, I want to really give Satish credit there. Now, most people at home are probably wondering, well, it's easy to get rid of queens when the flop comes out ace 10-9 with 2 spades. But we see so many times people limp in with queens, don't get the limp re-raise, and then they go broke on the hands. So he quickly got rid of it.
I have this guy on my friends list named Quasar. Maybe people know him out there. I don't know. People are
Who's
making
Quasar?
comments. I have no idea. He was just... a year and a half ago, I had poker as one of my things I was interested in, and he added me. So
Wow.
Then maybe there's a story behind that. I have no clue.
The Quasar man, huh?
Yeah. Looks like we had another email here. Tom Martin here says, would it be possible to tell Kenna that the Bluff Forum members are watching? I think that we can tell him. Well, he's actually stepped away from the table right now.
Wow. Is there a message board forum in Bluff Magazine?
Maybe there is. I haven't really checked it out.
Wow. Now, we actively follow the 2+2 form. I'm wondering if there are other forms out there. I know the Full Contact, Daniel Negreanu's site has a form.
Button moves over there to seat 1.
If you've got a message board running on Live at the Bike one, let us know. Email us at live@thebike.com.
We might get to that stage where we do our own on the website.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Be a lot easier for us to follow, obviously.
Ace-King suited here on the button for seat number 1.
Now, this is interesting here. Seat number 7, Larry's got Ace-Jack suited. Is he going to get himself in trouble with this hand?
I played bad in that.
Satisha's going to be in there with 4s. He's got the small blinds.
The bluff form is in the house.
Oh, I made it.
Yeah, there it is.
No, the bluff magazine form, right? 70.
And Ryan is going to raise it up to 70.
Well,
here.
I think Ken is a contributor for Bluff Magazine. He writes a small little article every once in a while up there.
Well, seat 9's been pretty in line so far from what we've seen. Is Richie still steaming? He's going to make the call with Jack 5 diamonds. And let's see if Larry, who's played it pretty tight, is going to make the overcall in between.
Well, with Ace-Jack suited, you might want to call this in between.
And he does.
You wouldn't want to take it heads up with another person in there. And this is one of those flops where I'm not really looking for just an ace, am I?
You might not necessarily be looking for a jack. You have to see how it plays out.
Exactly.
$150 here going 3 ways.
He's out of position against the
Look
razor.
at Richie Rich's hand. He flops a diamond draw, but Ryan's got top pair.
Now, we've seen Richie Rich. He will gamble with this draw.
Wow, Ace-King checks. Unbelievable. Here we go to the turn, and the turn's a diamond. And now, can he get away from it? Did Richie check it from up front again, or is he going to come? I think it's a great time for Richie to bet, and he is going to bet.
He's betting. It looks like a steal.
Induced this bluff, right?
Exactly.
It's a $300 bet here.
And he looks like he's going to raise. He's got raising chips out there.
I mean, this is incredible.
Is Ace-King of clubs that big a hand on that
And
bluff?
if you've got Jack 5, and look at this, he's going to make the raise here. He's going to make it 400 more. I look at Jack 5 as almost the nuts here. Because what possible flush could you lose to here, Dave? Ace 9, Ace 10? Is that just about it, right? You get the Jack of diamonds in your hand.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And if you're Richie Rich, do you re-raise here?
Well, it looks like he makes the call. And this pot is quickly over $2,000 here, folks. And the river's a deuce. How is Richie going to play it? It just got checked down. He got checked down here on the river.
Wow.
I can't raise him.
Well, I mean, at that point, Richie has got the second nut flush, right? He has the second nut flush. I mean, I don't know. There are different ways you can play that hand.
The hand is played out so strangely.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm wondering is, okay, if you're on the button, you raised pre-flop, and you flop an ace-high flush draw, would you check? I mean, I wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I also wouldn't have checked ace-king there, so I don't know. Maybe Ryan would have checked an ace-high flush draw there.
No.
You know, the other thing, too, is that here's another way of playing it. You might call, and then throw in a bet in on the river. Like throwing
Like a little blocker bet almost,
on
like a $500 on the river.
And then, you know, devil's advocate, what if the guy comes over the top? You know what? If the guy comes over the top and he has played an ace-high flush in that way, he might have all my chips, Dave.
Yeah.
Because I can't put him on that hand. You know what I mean?
I also can't put him on ace-king. I mean,
you almost play it like maybe he was slow playing pocket queens,
well,
right?
the weird way he played it, I got to say, he almost played it as if he was bluff catching you. Like, let's say he had jacks.
Right.
And he hated the flop, so he checked it. Now, he's induced the bluff, and you bet 200 into him, and he thinks you're bluffing, so he raises it. So then in that case, if you bet, there's no way you're going to get called, so maybe you check it, inducing the bluff on the river. Just to play devil's advocate there.
We have a $135 raise here by Richie Rich. And Armando has ace-queen, and he's just going to muck it in the big blinds.
Wow. It's amazing. I mean, he actually was right to muck it there, but how do you give Richie Rich any credit for a real hand the way Richie Rich has been playing?
I mean, he's been showing his garbage hands as well.
Exactly.
I think we have time for about 2 more hands here.
Been a real fun night here at Live at the Bike. Don't miss tomorrow night's action. Tomorrow night we've got a little bigger game. We've got a 10-20 no limit hold'em game.
What's the tournament tomorrow night, Dave?
Tomorrow night's actually an Omaha tournament.
Okay.
And
maybe I'll get to play. Actually, the funniest thing is they have a 30-60 Omaha game out there using $5 chips, Dave, tonight. Did you see that on the side?
I did. That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Well, I'd hop into that game, and I'm sure they'll have a game like that tomorrow. An Omaha game tomorrow. Don, is that game still going? Take a look to your right. Or from this angle, the camera pans over to the left.
No, it costs me the entrance.
They're not listening to you, Bart. Nobody listens to you.
It's over. The button moves here. Yeah, it's right over there, all the way to the left there in that corner.
Really? Okay.
You don't want to watch and see you trying to fool.
There it is.
Yeah, I think it's going.
And they're playing 30-60 with $5 chips?
$5 chips, yeah.
I mean, it's not like 20-40 with a half kill?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently, they were playing a 20-40 mix game, and they switched it to 30-60 Omaha, and they're like, you know what, we don't even need to change the chips.
Man, that
I mean,
game's
the
got to
problem
look
with the
actually.
split pot game, too, with a 3-6 structure, Dave, it does sometimes make the pots look small. But I know you don't necessarily like a lot of chips in play.
Well, I don't mind it.
But that's almost out of control. 6-12
Yeah.
chip
Oh, my
structure.
God.
And a split pot game,
The game
it's
just
gotta be
takes
sloppy.
longer. The game just takes longer, you know? Get a raise in the button here from Aaron here. He's got 10-3 suited.
Yep.
Now, I like mixing it up and raising in position like Aaron has, but oftentimes I want my hands to have some sort of connection, like even 10-8, 10-7, 3-5. We've seen him do it a couple times tonight with 10-3 and Jack Deuce. Now, they've both been spades, but we're talking about hands that aren't connected at all.
Wow. Seat number 5 here, Richie Rich is going to re-raise out of the big blind to 300 with King 6 offsuit. This is incredible.
And Armando is in pretty much, if he thinks Richie Rich is full of garbage, he needs to move all in. And if he thinks it's pretty much move all in or fold, right? With ace 10 here?
No, I showed it to him. I said no brainer. He said no brainer, and I raised. He didn't tell me what to do. Do that.
And Armando's a little upset that he was allowed to raise. He thinks that he checked. He thought he tapped the table, but he's claiming that he did not actually act. And obviously, if you're in the big blind, you get a chance to act.
Chop it up. Chop it up.
It's a no-brainer.
I don't know.
It's a no-brainer fold. Show that hand. Show the hand. It's a no-brainer fold.
Hey, look at that. King 6, he shows it, Dave.
Kenneth goes, it was a no-brainer fold, and the guy shows King 6. Oh, look at that. Live at the Bike.
And this is going to be the
Live
last
at the Bike
game
is
of the
shown
night.
every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m., folks.
He asked me a no-brainer like a fold.
But that is the appropriate.
I was wrong.
No, it was what.
You did the right thing.
I'm sorry. I was having fun.
We've got a bunch of new features, by the way, folks. A lot of new features on liveatthebike.com, so check it out in the coming couple of days and weeks.
I meant no-brainer fold, not no-brainer.
I'm really excited, obviously, with you and I not propping anymore. We'll be able to devote a lot more time to to Live at the Bike.
Yes. All kinds of features that we're going to be having coming up.
I feel so cheap.
I'm sorry.
Nude pictorials of Bart,
I feel so cheap.
I plan to
Isaac in a bikini.
If I flash in my cars, I need to not say one word. It was a shot. That's it.
You know the funniest thing the other night?
I can show you.
Remember when I read the email from Isaac's mother? And I said that Isaac wasn't even here? She thought that Isaac was had gotten fired and didn't tell her. And Isaac wasn't here for 2-3 months.
Really?
It was the funniest thing, yeah. It was just so hysterical.
And Richie Rich is going to raise here again out of the blind. He's got King 9 of diamonds this time.
Choose a car. I'll let you see one.
And no one's going to call. And that's going to do it for us tonight, Dave.
That's it.
So, great night again here at Live at the Bike. Join us tomorrow night for a little 10-20 unrestricted No Limit Hold'em cash game.
Should be a big game.
So for everyone here in the booth and for Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody. Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.